1, 2, check, chuff, 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 chuffy, chuff. Probably a bit loud, aren't I? Because it was loud yesterday. 1, 2, chuff, chuff. Chuff, chuff, 1, 2, chuff, chuff. Are we rolling? Have I got a picture? Smile, I'll take your picture. Chuffy, chuff. Probably a bit loud, aren't I? Because it was loud yesterday. Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me. One thing I do also want to check. Yesterday we did the whole broadcast. Didn't have the right thumbnail on. Didn't have the right thumbnail on, did I? So let me just open up YouTube now and have a look at our channel, Ganji Kid. My channel. Yeah, got the right thumbnail on. Blackpool is fake with Jade, Antiquitech, Tartaria. That's us today. That's us today. Blackpool is fake with Jade. I thought, why not follow up what we've been doing? Because I haven't actually looked at Jade's channel in depth yet on our channel, have I? So that's what we're doing today. Make sure to take a look at all our other stuff in your own time. In your own time, not now. Not now. Stay on this now. We're doing this now. You. Stop getting distracted. Look, my headphone popped off. Headphones are going to get an update one of these days. But I've had these headphones ever since I've been on YouTube. And they're kind of part of the look. But the look's all scuffed, isn't it, if I can't get them to stay together. I lost a little screw out of there and just fell out. Anyway, look. Got a screw loose me. Anyway, I want a little background music. I don't want it to be really loud. I want it to be background. Okay, I want it to be really nice. Quiet. I'll put quiet this time. Quiet game music. Relaxing. Put that. That's what I want. Just want quiet, relaxing. Oh, I've got the same things up as I normally get. Let's try this one. Quiet though, mind. Quiet. Please, you. Because I have to have the desktop audio up full to listen to Jade. So let's hear how this sound balances. Quiet though, mind. Quiet. Please, you. Because I have to have the desktop audio up full to listen to Jade. So let's hear how this sound balances. Quiet though, mind. Quiet. Please, you. Because I have to have the desktop audio up full to listen to Jade. It's alright, isn't it? It's not awful. It's not awful. It's still a bit loud. You tell me. You tell me. You tell me in chat if you think the background music is too loud. You tell me in chat if you think there's anything wrong with the setup. And I'll use you as judge, jury, and executioner. And I also want chat. I don't need chat on the window. I don't need chat on the window. Chat is now immortalised in the video, I believe, by YouTube. So I've got my cup of tea. Hope you got a cup of tea. Nice cup of tea. I will actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pause the music for Jade because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to judge these people and their ideas again. Oh, I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. There's no executions here. There's no executions. Just killing them softly with his song. Killing them softly with his song. Telling my whole life with his lines. Killing me softly with his song. I thought he had a good song. I thought he had a style. I thought the world was flat and it went on for miles. Oh, God, this is a Tartaria one. So what she's called this, and I should have put that in our, actually, I'll do that as well. Blackpool Tower investigation, old world tech or docking station. Let's copy that. Let's go to my stream. Can I edit it while it's rolling, do you think? Edit, I've never tried this before. Edit while we're rolling. And let's pop that in the description, save. Yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, edited while I'm rolling. Oh yeah, edited while I'm rolling. Oh yeah, live edit. Oh yeah. It's a bit like being a media producer in a way. Well, it's exactly what it is because that's what we're doing, isn't it? I just blow my own trumpet a little bit. Just blow my own trumpet a little bit. It's not a very big trumpet to blow, this isn't. It's not a very good trumpet to blow in a way. I went to a good school, went to a nice school, went to a good school. I have the background music on again. Not one of those paid schools. Not one of those paid schools, but it was a grammar school. So yeah, did a little exam, and if you did well in the exam, then you got into the school. So I got a decent education. I was lucky on that front. Didn't have to pay for it, and I feel like, not blowing my trumpet too much, but I feel like I know just a little bit about quite a lot of stuff. A little bit about quite a lot of stuff in a way. Like things come up, and I'm like, oh yeah, did you know this? Did you know that? And I'm always saying that. Quite good on a quiz. I am. I'm quite good on a quiz team. Quite good on your quiz team. I'm not brilliant, you know, I don't have like a specialist subject that I'll absolutely mastermind it on, and I don't always know everything about everything. Quite often a subject can come up and I'll be like, oh, don't know that. Don't watch Coronation Street, or never tried knitting. Actually, I have tried knitting, but you know what I mean? Like, things will come up and I don't know anything about them, but then I'll try and learn. So what happened with me was, after school, I went to college, and at college I did A-levels, but then I was a bit of a fuck up. So what I had to do, I had to stay on college another year and do 2 more A-level retakes. Fuckers. So I did an extra year of sociology, which was actually kind of good because I really got to learn the sociology in depth eventually. And during that time, I did an extra course. I did an HND in media, which was like a bonus because I was only doing 2 A-level retakes. I added in the media as like it was like a whole separate media course. We did print production, we did radio, we did editing, but we did it on actual VHS cassettes with the full editing deck. Like they built this thing in the college because we had a bit of a media college, and they built this like editing deck and showroom with cameras and auto cues and all that, you know what I mean? So you could do your own news show and see how it all worked. I've used all the things in the studio. It was all fun and games. It was media. It was my, you know, time killer. So I had a bit of fun while I was doing it with my mate. I had a really good time. But during that, I learned all about different media production techniques and styles and stuff. Then I went to university and I studied economics and sociology and studies in social psychology. And I was a drum and bass DJ, and I used to stay up all night going to clubs. So eventually I had another fuck up, and I had to come home and say, look, I'm not going to finish that degree, and I'm not going to stay in Bristol and be editing anymore. I'm going to come home to where I live and grow a beard. And I had a breakup of a relationship, and it really cut me hard. So I came home, I grew a beard, and I did some self-harm. Which is, I'm not joking about that. I'm not joking about that. That's actually true. I shouldn't joke about that. It was a bit of a dark time in my life. So then I had to pull my shit together and say, come on, Scotty Hottie, we're going to get this show on the road. I started working for my dad's roofing company, and at the same time I thought, I don't want to Joey on the roofs all day. This isn't for me. You know. So what am I going to do now? And I decided to start learning hairdressing. So at the same time as being a roofing Joey, I was also a hairdresser at college. So I had to pay for my college. I had to go to college on a couple of days a week. And then I did actually cut some roofers' hair on the back of the van sometimes for practice. And eventually I got to start going to work in salon jobs. And eventually I worked my way up through salon jobs till I was quite good. I did an extra hairdressing degree. Still no, you know what, David? YouTube doesn't do notifications for these things. You know Ludwig, I don't know if you've heard of Ludwig. Ludwig is the top streamer. They paid him millions of pounds to move from Twitch to YouTube. He's like the biggest streamer on YouTube, and they paid him all this money to move over. And Ludwig complains that his audience don't get notifications. And they paid him millions of pounds, so they don't pay me anything, and they probably don't even want me on here. So yeah, and we're doing this stuff which might get YouTube's back up a little bit, so maybe it thinks we're a conspiracy channel, I don't know. Anyway, I did eventually qualify as a like MVQ level 4, like highest level hairdresser, and I didn't like working for other people, so I worked self-employed. Let me just check the music and the sound is okay. Could you tell me, is the background music too loud? Is the background music too loud? Is it drowning me out? Is it alright? Should just be alright, shouldn't it? Check the music and the sound is okay. Yeah, it should just be alright. You're not complaining. So I worked for myself in the end. I rented a chair in a hairdresser's, so I gave them money every week. I took the money in as my business. I was a sole trader, and one of my outgoings was my rent, my chair rent. So I did that for a while until I got my own client base, moved to another hairdresser with that client base, built. Eventually they decided to leave. The manager of the shop decided to leave, like the person that paid the rent, the owner, they left. And I said, you know what? I can step up and do this. I'll fill in your shoes. I'll pay the rent to the landlord, and I'll put my name on the shop, and I'll rent the chairs to other people now. And that's what happened. I built my own business up from scratch, and it was reasonably successful to the point where, like I was saying, Onward building and all that. And then eventually we had a credit crunch and things got really difficult, and the people that were renting the chairs weren't finding it so easy. So I was giving them my customers, and you know, it got like tough. And I decided, look, why am I chasing my tail just to pay the bills and pay the rent and pay the colour bill and pay the, you know, I was paying all my bills out. Eventually for me, I had enough money to drink and eat. What's the point in that? I don't have to struggle all day, 9 to 9. Like I used to work late hours and weekends. You know, I don't have to struggle all day just for a pittance. I can work in Tesco for a pittance, and it's less struggle. So like I looked at the business plan and said, you project this 10 years down the line, and it's still a struggle. I don't want to be struggling in 10 years. So I decided to quit and change tack. At the same time, my friend who was a media producer that we talked about, you know, we'd been doing any good weave work. Yeah, I'm not too good on hair pieces and extensions. I was more of a traditional colourer. Very good colourist, very good colour technician. Yeah, so what I decided to do, my friend was doing a film about a strongman. My friend from the media college who'd gone on to get a degree in film, he was making a film about a strongman, UK's strongest man. And I said, you know what? He offered me the chance. I went with him. I held the microphone, got a camera. You could see that story on Battery Exhausted. The film went on to Netflix and it was a huge success, and I was like amazed, and yeah, it was like a bit of a life changer. So then I was back into media production all the way around from, like, you know, the old college days. So I just wanted to make that point clear, because I'm going to critique Jade, not just on her history, not just on the things she says historically and these funny, weird ideas, but I'm also going to critique her on the media production. I'm also going to critique on that, because I think it is interesting. You know, it's also a different way of looking at this. And it happens in my brain, I can't help it. So, first thing first, what I want to say here is, what an awful shot. We're in the van, aren't we? We're in that fucking van. Aren't we? We're in that van. Here we are in the van. What's she got in the van? Well, a bit of wallpaper there. Is that what costs all the money? Some net curtains that are pinned on. Are they just white? You know, the old traditional white sheeting window covering. It looks a bit grim, doesn't it? There's a bare wood behind her shoulder. There's bare wood deck seating and a little hippie throw thing. This is inside the van, isn't it? Is this inside the van, these hooks? And I don't know what that unit is up there. It looks like a speaker or something on a funny random shelf. A bit of an eclectic mix. A bit of a horrible backdrop. I wouldn't want to sleep in there. And what I'm noticing as well is that she's shot this shot, right? And she shot it. This is just basic media production for anyone out there who wants to know this. This is basic for your photographs, for your YouTubes, for whatever. She shot it into the sun. The sun is behind her. It's light behind her. You can see my face now. I'm being lit from over there where the window is. So you can see me, and the background is actually darker than me. Yeah? I haven't got the light on in the room. If I do this, turn the light on in the room, it won't improve it necessarily. See that? It lit the background more, but it didn't change my face. Didn't change my face. So I stand out more against the dark background because I'm lit. But here we've got the opposite happening. We've got her face not being lit and the background being lit from behind. So you can't really see her. You can't really see her. For my thumbnail, right? For my thumbnail, I had to boost up the contrast. I had to deaf out some of this background light. I had to cut that out, basically. And I had to put a sharpening mask. I had to put a sharpening mask on her to sharpen up the contrast. I had to double boost the contrast so you could see her chuffing face. So in terms of media production, Jade's not that smart. And what baffles me a lot, I mean, you can learn this along the way on YouTube. You absolutely can. You can learn this along the way. You don't have to start out good at media production on YouTube. But what baffles me is that people don't think, hang on, this is media. Maybe I should learn a bit about media. Maybe I should learn a bit about what the camera does, about how to shoot a shot. She's also made another little mistake. It's not huge, right? It's not huge. But what she's done here is she's framed herself bang central. Now that could be a choice. It could be a choice to want to appear more confrontational. Bang center in the frame. She's bang center in the frame. That could be a choice. You know, you see it on some documentaries when they want to give you real hard-hitting testimony, straight down the camera, bang central. And often you'll see a different thing. You'll see people position. If I just move the frame like this, like that, you see. Now she's slightly, like, the frame's different, isn't it? Because I've moved it about a bit. I've cut off the top and the left. So now she's off to the side slightly, and there's a bit of space. You see that? It's a bit like the way I arrange my frame here. Look, I'm off to the one side slightly, and there's a bit of space. And that space I can now use for my editing stuff. Like, I can put her there. Like, she should be off to the side slightly and leave a bit of space. And it's not just to use the space for editing, although it does really help. Right, it does help. But it's for the rule of thirds. So we've got this rule of thirds. I'm teaching Jade stuff. If she watches my videos, she can improve her content. The rule of thirds is in photography. It's like this basic guideline. You might even see it on your cameras when you're taking photographs. You know, they might show you this grid on your cameras. And the idea is to position people or items in those spots there. Slightly off to the side, one side or the other. Slightly up, slightly down. Not bang in the centre. just off. And that creates this element of composition that we find more beautiful, that we find more pleasing and attractive to the eye. And it also leaves a bit of space on the side. So if you, that's just one, that's not like everything about composition. You need to think about eye line, and you need to think about background, and whether the background is confusing the eye, or, you know, if you've got a straight line in the background, it appears to go right through my eyes like that. If there's like a bridge and it appears to go right, the top line goes right through my head. Like, it might look like there's a big arrow going through my head or something. You need to think about the background in other ways. But there's just top tip number 1, rule of thirds. And that's actually based on geometry and ideas of beauty. I shot a documentary and I presented it's the Stugan film that I'm going to show you one day on this channel. So this year, there's also the golden ratio. I shot one in the silver ratio because it works better for division of pixels. But the golden ratio is actually geometry in nature. This golden ratio, look. And it creates this beautiful framing, this beautiful filling of the frame. It goes on and on. Like, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but look, there's Leonardo da Vinci using it on the Mona Lisa. Oh, I'm moving the background, not the thing. There's Leonardo da Vinci using it on the Mona Lisa. It works in art, and that golden ratio plays into this framing rules as well. So we also have another ratio called the silver ratio. These are just really interesting concepts when you're looking at framing, images, and art, I guess, you know, construction of that. So the silver ratio is slightly different. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't know how to do the equations and stuff. I don't know how to do the equations, but I know that it's this combination of like these two. So if you want to do something in more symmetrical format, you could use a silver ratio to enhance that symmetrical format. So they're the different ratios that should inform your choice of... Oh, don't worry, Jade, you're bang on in the centre, fair enough. And you've been backlit, and we can see the van, and the van looks awful. So there's my first appraisal of this media product. Right, I'm turning off my background music because we're going to appraise hers. What they do tend to have is they have one of these little intro drops, don't they? They tend to have one of these intro drops. I don't think it's useful because we know what channel it is because you've clicked on it. It says the channel underneath it, Jade. So I don't need 2 seconds, 3 seconds of your name and your channel and your intro drop. On YouTube, what we should be doing is going straight into the action, getting into the action. But fair enough, we've got one of these future of the past things. And it's interesting because they do this, I suppose, to seem more professional, but this looks like clip art. It looks unprofessional. You've got 2 different fonts already. You've got these drifting dandelions, which don't have any context because we're interior of a building with light shining. Like, it doesn't make sense to have these things all together. I'll check it out. 22 divided by 7. And it's used in music too. So there we go. There you go. Oh, David's mate's got a master's in archaeology and he's been a hairdresser for 30 years. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have just carried on cutting hair and used the money to do another degree like I did with the roofing to the hairdressing. But in the end, I binned it all off and had to just sit on my own at home with nothing going, oh my God. No, I was all right. I sold all the chairs. I sold all the colour. I sold all the, you know, everything I could sell that was hairdressing related. I had a Weller steamer that was over £1,000. You know, I sold all that stuff and I was able to buy a computer and a camera, and that started me on media.
Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for the support on my...
I love it. Hey up everybody, welcome to another video. Right, I'm going to start this video being as smiley and nice as possible. That's my online persona here. I'm going to start this being as smiley and nice as possible. Banging, love it. And A up is obviously a northern, it's her catchphrase, isn't it? A up everybody. And then she's edited that straight away. She couldn't maintain. You know what I do? If I'm shooting, again, it's just me this time. This isn't a rule for YouTube. You can do a lot of hard edits if you want. But I tend to, if I get it wrong on the first, if I go, hey up everybody, this is when, I'll say cut, I'll do it again. Hey up everybody, this is Jade, and I'll do the full line. I've got your script, you've got a script here. Assuming, of course, assuming you've got a script. I'm freeform today, I'm on the radio. Radio still have a script. What you want about radio still have a script? You've got a book about it upstairs, writing for radio. Yeah, I know I have. So why did you say it then? I don't know. I just like, I just, you know, trying to give the impression that radio is more freeform, because they do on the radio, don't they? They give the impression the radio is more freeform. Yeah, they do, but they like to give that impression because they like to think that they're clever. But actually, it's all completely scripted by the minute to the letter, the number of minutes and seconds that the track is going to last, and then you press this button and you say exactly this. Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, I know it's scripted. I've got a book about it upstairs. I just told you got a book about it upstairs. Don't you tell me. Right, anyway. The point is, right, that I am totally freeform. I should have a bit of a script, if just notes. What I do is I look through some of the stuff, some of the ideas. I've got my windows open. I've got my windows open here for other windows that we're going to look at today. So I do that, but like, I should have a script. Media production. If you're doing this, absolutely you've got a script, because you shouldn't be free-forming your pre-recorded video, should you? Unless it really wants to be freeform and you think there's some benefit to that. I might do a freeform read, a sort of, you know, off-the-cuff, what do they call it, ad-lib read, and then I might look at it against my script and use bits in the edit if I feel they work. But what I wouldn't do is just do the whole video ad-lib freeform. That would be a huge mistake, because you're trying to, you know, put ideas together, present ideas in a structured way. So I think she's got a script. So if I fucked up the script, I wouldn't say, oh, that's fine, I've done 2 words, I'll edit those and I'll edit those. And no, I'd say cut, do it again until you get it right. And then I just use the one take.
First comeback video. I know I haven't made anything in a long time. Just know.
Oh, this is a comeback video. First comeback video. Wait, should I check that out? Should I check out her copy? Let's have a look. We're looking at Jade on YouTube. Paste and go. I have been told not to use Google by people in comments, because I should be using a different search engine. I tend to use Ecosia. I tend to use Ecosia. But if I didn't use Google, I don't think I'd be able to use YouTube. YouTube, hang on. I'll Google it. Do Google own YouTube? No spaces in that, because I can't. I'll Ecosia. YouTube is a subsidiary of Google. Yeah, there you go. I Ecosia'd it, so I hope you don't mind that. Ecosia, it's different. I Ecosia'd it, and do Google on YouTube? Yes, basically. So, what are we going to do about that? That's a bit of a problem. I'm not allowed. The Febs and the people in the comments who are trying to educate me on where to find this information. They say that YouTube is censoring them, and that all the flat earth stuff is not on YouTube. Use DuckDuckGo and other stuff. So why am I now? I've got a problem, because YouTube is part of Google, right? So what you need to understand big time is that the people like Jade is not doing flat earth. She hasn't mentioned it in any of her videos. She's doing Antiquitech and Mudflood. And the reason Jade's doing Antiquitech and Mudflood is compound. The first reason is that she's doing it because the flat earth trend is going down. Now, I said this on a previous video. I got the trending out. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Google Trends. I do use Google for this because it's a Google service. So Google Trends. And then we type in flat earth. And then we go, not just the past 12 months, we want to see a proper trend. So we look 2004 till now. We see it goes all the way up. Yay! And then, all the way down. So it's on the way down. So there's no point in making videos about something that's trending down, because you'll see your numbers going down. It's like, not up. So that's, tap the microphone, don't tap the microphone. So that's a problem for them. But I was then informed in a comment that this is because YouTube, sorry, get them right. This is because Google is censoring flat earth. So no wonder the line goes down. That's not a true indication of their interest in it. That's just an indication of how hard the sensor's working. Strange the sensor was working hard and then let them peak again and then carried on going down and then let them peak again and then let them going down. You'd think the sensor would be like, if something gets censored, you'd think the line would just go straight down. Antiquitech, yeah. Oh, we got a new word. Oh yeah, Antiquitech. Right. So it's not, the line's not going straight down. It sometimes goes up. So it's the sensor is obviously inconsistent. But that's what they're telling me has happened. So I'm not to use Google. But the problem is that, of course, YouTube is Google, isn't it? And if you search Tartaria, for example, it goes up. It goes up. So that's not being censored. And if you search Antiquitech, It doesn't even have enough data to show there because it's so new. Brilliant. So what we're seeing is the Tartaria is going up while the flat Earth's going down, on at least on Google and YouTube, which is what everyone else uses. So if you want the real information, I'm told I'm not to use these sources. I'm told to go to a different search engine and find different sources. That's another episode for us. We're looking at Jade today. That's another episode. But what I would say is that YouTube is one of these Google sources. YouTube is Google. Yeah. Absolutely 100%. YouTube is Google, right? Google YouTube stats cannot be trusted due to shadow banning. Fair enough. I know this firsthand. A DNC whistleblower, I won't say that word because it might get me flagged. And I'm now persona non grata minus 100. That is a problem. I made a video on a different channel once, right? LL. I agree with your concept here. I made a video on a different channel to say that, oh God, if I say these words, it's going to get us flagged as well. That the pop, 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 you know, the people that go pop, pop, pop with the pop, 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 no, and they do it in places where people learn. The pop, 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 where people learn, and then it's on the news, and they were saying it's false flags. I was like, no, these people are upset because these children have just been pop, pop, popped. So don't say that's lies. That's awful. And I made a video just about that, and they said red flag, can't have this, you know, conspiracy thing. And I was like, well, hang on, Google, YouTube, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying this is the reason that you shouldn't make these horrible videos. Don't think I'm a horrible video, but yeah, you know, it's not perfect. It is run by computer, a logarithm, and shadow banning. Hi Ben, hi, nice to meet you. Shadow banning, I worry about on our channel especially because I got trolled on my original. I had an ASMR channel. It's nothing to do with politics, and there's politics within every community. And I got trolled by a load of kids, and that put a load of dislikes on a few of my videos. And I worry about this shadow banning. I also spoke out against YouTube's monetization policies because I didn't want adverts on my videos. And I wonder if shadow banning, you know, I now talk about all this shit and I wonder if shadow banning. So, you know, we've got to swim upstream sometimes, but yeah, it's just the way it is, isn't it? It's just the way it is. Nice to have a new face here in chat. Nice to see you. I was going to say that I think what's important to note from our perspective on Jade here is that, and I might bring back the soothing music while I'm talking, is that what Jade's doing is she's obviating that ban. She's avoiding that ban, isn't she? I don't know if she's ever been on YouTube before, but she's not talking about any of those things you've mentioned in chat. She's not talking about any of those things that I've just mentioned now. She's not talking about anything like that gets YouTube targeted and banned, and they've made up a new one. Antiquitech and Tartaria is so novel and new that it's trending up. Another good concept about it is it's diffuse. It's not like one thing, like the Earth is this. Well, can you prove it? Yeah, I can prove because the stars, and you can't. Oh, well then the Earth can't be that. You're done. No, this is Antiquitech around the world. A mud flood at some time, maybe this time, maybe that. Sort of, you've got a 800-year window to fit it in. There's a building here, there's a building there. It's diffuse, isn't it? It's like a lot of little marbles everywhere. It's not one big flat or ball to argue about. It's like lots of little marbles everywhere, and you've got to pick up all the marbles, and individually you hold them up to the light and you say, no, that's bullshit. No, that's bullshit. I can prove this. But in one go, it's harder to prove the whole thing, isn't it? Because they keep bringing up little like random. That's why they're doing this. It's because it avoids the YouTube ban, because YouTube hasn't picked up that this is bullshit yet. It's because it avoids being part of that previous group that's been tarred with this bullshit brush because they've been proved to be bullshit. It's because it confuses people. It preys on things that they're not that educated about. I doubt many of us, apart from a few of us in chat to be fair, are that educated about construction, architecture. You know, it's not even architecture. It's not even a specific topic at school, is it? So, you know, it's something that some people know about, some people don't, and it's all over the place. It's diffuse. So they're in that for this reason. It's a way they can pump their bullshit on YouTube, isn't it? It's a way she can pump bullshit on YouTube. She can't do the other stuff, the flat earth. She can't do that. You're not allowed to pump it on YouTube. It spots it. It fucks you off. So she's trying to rise like a phoenix from this ban hammer. All the others have suffered the ban. She's looking at this situation a year ago, yeah? And she's saying, right, Martin Liedtke, he's one of the big people. He's suddenly had his channel demonetized and he's in shit because he's been talking all this shit. You know, all these other ones, they're being demonetized, they're talking all this shit. But I can start from now and I won't talk that shit. I'll say something different. I'll say this new shit that we're all talking. I see. So Jade has created this YouTube channel on the Google platform. in order to obviate the ban that Google and YouTube are trying to put. She's just, you know, she's like danced around it and moved into, like, see what I mean? It's like when the when the teacher has busted all the naughty children, she's managed to escape off around the back, and now she's got herself a different packet of cigarettes to smoke. She's just doing the, like, one con onto the next, isn't it? And yeah, so it's what I think is so weird, right? What I think so weird, yeah. Hi, Capital K. I just couldn't help it. I thought we'd have to have a look at her channel, because I haven't actually had a look at her channel yet. So we are officially looking at her in Blackpool, and through the eye of media production, as well as talking a load of shit. But what I find so weird about it is they want to be on YouTube, because I was told in the comments that YouTube is a place that is bad because it doesn't, you know, it's censored, bad, part of them, they, the big they. YouTube is part of the big they. So why is she so desperate to be on YouTube to the point that she will play to their tune? She will dance to their tune, won't she? She'll do everything she can to sanitize her content to make it YouTube friendly. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit weird. I suppose it's for money, isn't it? I suppose it's for money. Here she is. Let's carry on.
Thank you so much for the support on my first comeback video.
Oh yeah, that was it. Comeback video. Okay, that's what I was supposed to be looking at, but I keep getting distracted. So she was doing these videos a year ago. They were getting, I don't know how many views they got a year ago, but they've managed to amass about 500, which is not a lot, is it, in YouTube terms? Of course, we're at the small end of the wedge, but we're growing. So she's got these videos. They've been consistent on their view count. Nothing pushing high, nothing breaking out. There's a 2.6k there, but nothing breaking out. Nothing like, you know, sometimes you get a breakout video. What happens on YouTube, here's a little bit of Scott's tip from media production again. What happens on YouTube is that initially, your first early growth, you might get 1 or 2 videos become your breakout video. And what YouTube does is it's not going to suggest all of your videos to the masses. It's going to pick the one that it thinks is kind of the best, in inverted commas, and it thinks that because it's the one that you've managed to get more clicks on, more consistent view time, maybe your thumbnail and title package is good, and maybe it represents your content really well. Maybe it doesn't. We'll come on to that in a second. But it's going to pick what it thinks is your best video, and then that one that gets, you know, amongst your small audience that gets the traction, it's going to say, right, we'll share that out to all the people and see what they think of this chap or chapess or non-binary cha, right? So you're not going to get all your videos pumped at the same time. What's going to happen is you're going to get this one breakout video that YouTube's going to suggest. You can look at a lot of different smaller, medium growing channels and spot this happening. And then, I mean, you might have got a channel yourself and seen it. Oh, I've got this one video, it's gone really well. So then you can either make videos that are very similar to that and hope that YouTube keeps to pump them out and the people stay interested, or you can continue making a diverse whatever of content. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is that's your like little advert into your channel. And then if people like the rest of your stuff, they stay and they subscribe and whatever. But if people only like that one video and your rest of your stuff's they're not interested, they don't. Okay, so that is a phenomenon of YouTube. And one of the issues with it is that if your breakout video that YouTube selects, I had one called stalled upload won't upload, because I have a channel called Battery Exhausted, which was just an eclectic mix of anything. Right? Give me a second. So that video, upload won't upload. That's not what my channel's about. My channel was me chatting. God, I got dizzy then. I think I'm getting dizzy because of all the chuff I'm chatting. That video was me chatting. That channel was me chatting chuff. And the video was me. No, YouTube, it's not nudity. It's just me taking a jumper off YouTube. It's not nudity. That video was not representative of my content, really. You know, it was just a little tip for if you're uploading. But of course, it got popular. It got popular because it was the most, you know, more people on YouTube are uploading than doing any of the other stuff that I'm doing. So it got popular. But my other stuff was about veganism and what have you, and chuff. And so it didn't mean my channel grew necessarily. It just meant I had one popular video. And actually it was bad for my channel because all the people that come there are looking for tech support. And if the rest of my channel's not tech support, then what are they going to do? They're going to not bother. They're not interested. So what I should have done is either made a tech support video at that point, right? Or I should have I should have sort of maybe deleted my most popular video so that YouTube picked a different one to suggest to people as my taster channel, thing. So that's kind of what happened with me, and I think it happens with other people. What's happening with Jade here is she's been making these videos about this Tartaria shit. Yeah, saying these 8 to 10 minute, 40 minute there. What she started with was 40 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute, because you don't want to make long videos if people aren't watching them. So then she's dipped down to 8 minutes, 10 minutes, tried 40 again, 9 minutes. She's trying different times with the same principle of content. Different places, same stuff. None of it's taken off. None of it's done particularly well. It's got enough to get her monetized, I think. How many subs has she got? 4,000. It's got enough to get her monetized, and that's it. So she needs a bit. It's not going that well. This is all a year ago, 11 months ago, 10 months ago. It's all like, if you look at her stats, they're all going to be, static menial. A lot like mine have been for a year. Static menial, fine. That's how it goes. So she's not got a breakout video. She's not, these things aren't happening. Then she does the tour. Then she's come up with this thing about tour. St. Peter's, maybe 4,000 views. Maybe that's the breakout video. They're hiding our history because it's got the best. Like, she's not very good at her. I'm not going to tell her how to do her titles, but she's not very good at her titles. She's not got the complete package. The thumbnails are bad and the titles are bad, so it's hard to pick which one of these is going to be the breakout. That one with her face there and she's pointing would probably be a good one, but the title is really rubbish. So, but Martin Liedtke, YouTube might think that's her breakout video because it's getting all the views and it's more recent. So that will spoil her channel because everyone will think that she's just a crazy, nasty piece of work. So vegans are only vegan when they're not hungry. I'll tell you what, I've given up some quite optimal food choices, food choices that when I was not vegan, I would have been right in there. I've given quite a few of those up over the years, and I've gone hungry. Thankfully, I just quickly take a. I love taking comments about veganism. I've got a vegan card, and in order to get my vegan card, I have to tell you about veganism all the time. So, in order to be a fully card-carrying vegan, I'm not allowed to let that go. One of the things that's important that led me into it as well was I tried Ramadan. Right, Ramadan is the Islamic month of fasting, and I did a Ramadan. I didn't eat in the daytime. I fasted, no water. No, sometimes I smoked a bit because I was a smoker, and I was just like, you know what, I'm a fucking chuffer, so God help me, I've smoked a cigarette. But I did a Ramadan. I went all day with no food till the evening. Sun went down, then I ate. It was really one of the most fantastic, cleansing, mentally interesting. Also, it's kind of exhausting. At one point, I went for this long dog walk in the sun. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the desert, in the Sahara Desert. I'm going to die. But no, it was really, and at the end of it, every evening, I felt so much more grateful for my food. I felt so much more grateful for little things. And it made a huge difference to my perception on diet and food. And then another part of it, it's like the COVID, when you stayed in all that time and you appreciated just the little things like being able to go down the park or, sit in a beer garden with your mates. It made that more special. The fasting really, it had that sort of element to it. So then when I started to think more, another person in my life helped me to think more deeply about veganism, but really not drinking as well. I gave up drinking, and when I gave up drinking, I did more thinking. So yeah, and having a dog was a big one as well, because when that died, I didn't want to eat it because I didn't want any dog chops, thank you very much. But yeah. So Jade hasn't got a breakout video. She's struggling. She's took a break 11 months ago, 10 months ago, 7 months ago. She took a break, and then she's made a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. And that comeback didn't get the payoff that she was hoping for. Your first one got 1.9. The second one got 965. So it went down, not up. Blackpool Tower, 1.3. And she's thinking at this point, this is fucked. I can't go on like this. It's not growing. I thought, I don't know what's going on in the intervening time. Maybe the tour. Maybe partly the tour. Maybe some other stuff. Maybe problems with the van. Maybe you can't make a lot of videos if you haven't got your van sorted. I don't know. Anyway, so she's taken a big break, and then Blackpool is her most recent one of these videos. So that's what she's talking about when she's made a comeback. It's not really a comeback. It's just took a bit of a break from making videos because you're on your own schedule, frankly.
I know I haven't made anything in a long time. Just know I do have some cool videos lined up for you.
Oh, this is terrible. Media production, right? I tell you in the episode what we're doing today. Yeah. Sometimes I'll say there's a good bit coming up at the end. It's a bit cheeky because I want you to stay around to the end, don't I? So I say there's a good bit coming up at the end. But sometimes there is a good bit coming up at the end. Sometimes I'll plan the good bit for the end, but I'm not lying. It's just a bit cheeky, isn't it? Because I want you to stay to the end. What she's done is worse than that, though. What she said here is, look, my content's not been there, right? It's not been there, and it's not been particularly good. But don't worry, the next video is going to be good. Well, what the fuck are you doing watching this one then? Don't ever tell them that your next video is going to be better than this one right at the start. Because what it's saying is this video isn't particularly good. But don't worry, you know, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I don't believe in that sort of shit. I've improved my stream. I've told people that it's going to get better when it's been bad because I've been feeling, oh God, I can't believe it's choppy. Oh no. But I've improved it. If you watch my streams, if you follow our story, you will see the absolute steady improvement in quality. And our next step is going to happen in the next couple of weeks. It doesn't happen overnight, but it involves new cameras, 4K. It involves a big computer. We've saved up the money. It's going to happen. But she's just going to tell you that the next one's going to be better. And we know from all the shit that's going on and from what happened in the next video, well, it wasn't better, was it? It was you crying about Martin.
Hey guys, it's just going to take a little while for me to be able to get back on my feet and get things going again. We're in the north of England. And
then she used to, I love it, when you're learning to edit, right? When you're learning to edit, one of the things you'll find is that in the editing software, I don't know what software she's using. I'm assuming it's not Final Cut Pro or Adobe. I think, or what's the other one? Acrobat. What's the other one they use? Premiere, Adobe. Anyway, look, I use Final Cut Pro. I'm assuming she's not using that. I'm assuming she's doing it on a phone or something. And you discover these transitions and you think, oh, that's cool. That's cool. You don't need a wipe transition like in Star Wars. You're not moving people's minds from one place to the next. You're not, like, wipe transitions are useful for certain feelings that they conjure up. You're not doing that. But you've discovered wipe transitions, so you've used one this time. But you haven't used one last time, so you're not consistent in your editing. So now it looks like somebody's playing on the... You know, like, if you've got an editing style, it doesn't matter. If you use wipes every time, that's cool. Yeah, fine, whatever. But if you're just playing with the different things on your buttons... So I've used a jump cut here and a wipe here, and now I'm going to use this drop-down thing that's going to make a... Oh, isn't that cool when it does the letters like that? I'm going to use that title here and this kind of words there. It looks like a jumble of rubbish that you're just playing on your phone. So even if you've got... It doesn't matter if wipes are good or not. If you're going to use them, fine, but just use them consistently. Don't jump around unless you've got a real reason for a particular cut. This time I need a dissolve because I want us to imagine this person's going to sleep and fading into their dreams. So it's all jump cut to now, but this one's going to be a dissolve. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's a choice, don't just play with the settings.
It's going to take a little while for me to be able to get back on my feet and get things going again. We're in the north of England.
And she cut that because of the wipe. It carried on the little bit of speak from before. So you heard her go, right. And we're only 27 seconds in and we've had like 10 different cuts. Can't you just do a take? Can't you just do a take? I don't practice what I preach because I'm not the kind of person I'm preaching to. That's a really interesting thing. Yeah, that's a really interesting concept. Some interesting chat in the chat today. I'm going to push on with Jade though as well because I'm going to push on with Jade because, well, I'm not being too mean to her, but I do want to give her a little bit of a kicking and a licking. Not a licking. Not a licking. What did I say that for? A kicking. I wasn't being... That was a joke. You know, like, forget it.
While for me to be able to get back on my feet and get things going again. We're in the north of England. I'm staying with a friend at the moment and they are actually going to show me the local Antiquitech. We are actually in Blackpool, so we're going to go...
Okay, we're 30 seconds in. I showed you this before on Mr. Beast, didn't I? Mr. Beast is probably the best at this, so I'll use Mr. Beast as a great example. This is like how to YouTube now. Mr. Beast. Let's have a look at Mr. Beast. Look at his thumbnails for a start. Aren't they good? Look at his thumbnails. Aren't they good? They are. They're really good. Let's just pick this one. World's Most Dangerous Escape Room. So like her, he's taking us to a place, isn't he? She's taking us to Blackpool. He's taking us to the World's Most Dangerous Escape Room. So is he going to do 30, 60 seconds of him saying, hi everyone, hope you're having a good time. My next video is going to be better than this. I'm actually in Blackpool with my friend. And I don't know, is he going to do that from inside his van? Let's have a look. Well, no, he's going to have an advert. Just like Jade, and hopefully me one day. So subscribe here because I need to monetize because I can't afford to live in the long term otherwise. You know, we've got a longer term plan than that, which is we build the podcast and we can get a sponsor and then, you know, hooray. Two adverts for Mr. Beast. So there you go. 2 adverts. There's one for Jade. Look, it's a job seekers. Job seekers get Go and get a fucking job. Don't work in a school, though. You'd be dangerous, mate. Don't work in a school, Jade. You'd be dangerous. They shouldn't have you around kids. Look, here we are. Built the most... Look, this is his video. It's called World's Most Dangerous Escape Room. Are you ready? Are you ready? What's going to happen? 30 seconds of talking.
I built the world's most dangerous escape room, and if this contestant can finish it in less than 1 hour, he wins $100,000.
Now, I don't know if you noticed, but we saw inside the escape room, we saw 4 shots of it. We saw a consistent font. We saw the font emulate the words. We've been given all the information. It's 7 seconds in.
Level 1 is simple. They must escape this room before these spikes impale them. I'm gonna head out.
Wait, these are actually sharp.
And we're away. We're away. We're doing it. We're 13 seconds in. Okay? So that's Mr. Beast. Got loads of windows open now, so I'm going to bin that off. This is Mrs. Beast. And we're 30 seconds in, and she's told us about that, but she hasn't shown us. She hasn't edited the images of Blackpool over the top. That would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? Even if you're going to talk for a bit, she hasn't edited the images over the top. We've got no cutaways.
Antiquitech. We are actually in Blackpool. So we're going to go down to the Blackpool Tower. We're going to go have a look on the front, see if we can see anything hidden. We're going to go have a little mooch around.
Because by now, if you're coming to this as just a, 1 in 100 observer, let's say you've never heard about all this shit. You're just a YouTube user. You're just the average YouTube user. Not people like in our comments, because you are not the average YouTube user. You're a bit more thoughtful, I can tell. But this average YouTube user clicks on, they're 40 seconds in, they haven't seen any Blackpool or anything, they've just seen this girl talking, unless they really get some sort of, what's the word, charismatic vibe off her, they're away, they're gone, I'm bored, next one, click, next, click, shorts, next. You've wasted your opportunity here to engage with people, because you've told them it's Blackpool Tower investigation, and we're 40 seconds in and we haven't seen the Blackpool fucking Tower.
I'm just going to try and show you guys what's in this town and what might be hidden from us, and see if we can get anywhere with this investigation. So thank you so much for being here, and let's get on with the show.
This is her music that she's used. I imagine it's copyright free, available on YouTube, so it's her choice, but you must understand that editing choices of music are quite important. They're quite important. For this, I would have maybe chosen something a bit more sinister, because what we're doing is we're trying to build a case that Blackpool has got a sinister subtext, that they didn't build like they told us, but instead they found this thing and it was Antiquitech, maybe a maybe a bit X-Filesy. Maybe I'd try and shoot, if I'm thinking that, this is important as well, before you shoot the video, before you go around and film it, before you go around and film this, right, what you should do is you should think in your brain, what do I want my YouTube video to look like? What's going to be in it? How am I going to build my case? How am I going to build my story? If I want it to amp up, if I want it to amplify to a big reveal at the end, or do I want it to be pow in with the thing and then we're going to see, do I want to use this kind of music or that kind of music? All these sort of things. Think beforehand, because if you did that, you'd be walking around with your camera and you go, I'm using the X-Files music, I'm building to a case, so I want little seeds, nuggets, things that might allude to things. I want things that look a bit spooky. I might want to shoot it on a Dutch angle to give a bit of that, when you're shooting up Blackpool Tower, how are you going to show the height? Here's another question. When you're shooting up Blackpool Tower, how are you going to show the height? You could go from underneath and you could move around and it'd make you feel dizzy, or you could go from a distance when it's on the horizon. Like, you might want to get a wide shot of Blackpool to start. Oh God, there's so many things, but you plan it in advance. And what you do want to do, regardless of tone, is you want a wide shot to start. Most media products start far away. If you watch films, you'll see this. You've watched films, you have seen this. There's the Earth. There's the whole Earth. It's a ball, it turns out. There's the Earth. We zoom in to a place, a country, a city, a person. They're in the garden, they're doing this. We're into the story. Do you know what I mean? You start off wide and you come in. You can start really close up and zoom out. That's possible. But geolocating the audience, giving them a sense of where they are. For this, Blackpool, I would have started out as far away as I could, but she can't because it's globe evidence, but far away as I could, and then zoomed in to where Blackpool is. Probably even you could just use Google Maps if you don't have a drone or you don't have the ability to sew 2 shots together from NASA and from me. You just you just go from high up and just zoom in. Yeah, so show you where Blackpool is. And again, I would be shooting, thinking about my tone. Instead of just walking around with my mobile phone, just filming, and then what I've got at the end, I'll cut and paste together in whatever haphazard fashion, you know. And Antiquitech is... Hello, Lindsay. We'll find out, maybe, if it's real. We'll certainly find out from this whether what she suggests is real, because I've done a little bit of looking. But, you know, we'll certainly find that out. I don't know about... This is one of the problems with these conspiracy theories, though, is that Antiquitech is just such a meaningless, broad term that I don't know exactly what it is supposed to define. And if we're looking all over the world for everything, it's hard to... You know, if the Earth is flat or not, that's one thing we can decide on and agree or prove or disprove. But if... whether in the past some people had some kind of technology that we may or may not be sure about now, because, you know, and which people and when, it's so vague and diffuse that I think, you know, it's that's the reason they want to use it, because who can say whether under one umbrella everything is rubbish or everything, you know, I just think it's too vague. You know, we need to be more specific, and when we get specific we find out that what they say is what Antiquitech is, what she's going to tell us today is, it doesn't make sense often, quite often, more often than not in my experience. We'll just see. But I'm also judging this as a piece of media on a media production front as well. So here we are in Blackpool. That's not Blackpool, that's the sea.
Blackpool's a town based on the northwest coast of England.
We've got a second font now. Third font, sorry. We used two fonts in the introduction. Now we're using this typed face, which is often reserved for detective movies and things like that, when they're in the, you know, the office, the journalist's office, typing out the things on screen. Often reserved for movies about journalism or anything where they're using newsprint or print media. Quite often detective movies as well. It makes you think of the 1920s, 1940s, in a way, cinema. I don't know why it's been used here.
It's a popular seaside resort for many, with tourism going back here as far as what is known as the Victorian era.
As far as what is known as the Victorian. Now, you're reading your script, so you've written this, and it's come up on your computer, because computers these days, you don't have to have Grammarly. You can just have any computer. You can write it in a fucking text, and it'll come up with a little wiggly line. This ain't right.
Seaside resort for many, with tourism going back here as far as what is known as the Victorian era.
As far as what is known as the Victorian era. With tourism going back... It's a popular seaside resort.
As far as what is known as the Victorian era.
With tourism going back as far as the Victorian era. As far as what is known as the Victorian... Oh, right, I see what you're doing. You're trying to say the Victorian era isn't necessarily the Victorian era. Which is weird, because we know Victoria was the Queen, and we do call it the Victoria... As far as what is known as the Victorian era. So you've decided to abandon grammar and style in favour of conjecture. And here's a nice shot. It's on a wonk. It's on a wonk. You can see it's all on a wonk, can't you? It's all on a wonk. No tripods here. It's Jade, and she's dancing. So make sure that she's in it, because we're talking about Blackpool, and so far we've seen a bit of the beach.
Blackpool's a town based on the northwest coast of England. It's a popular seaside resort for many, with tourism going...
That looks fun, doesn't it?
...back here as far as what is known as the Victorian era.
Make sure you get you in it. There's you, big you. Got you in it. Make sure it's you. You're the main one. Directing him now. Or her. Don't know who's behind the camera, but fucking get that. Do what you're told.
One of the most famous attractions in Blackpool is the Blackpool Tower.
Look at that camera work. See, no, actually, that is a reasonable shot. You've left this pillar on the right hand side. You haven't completely got that correct. It's close. Hang on, because you won't see it because I've actually cropped it to make it look better. But her actual shot includes... And I need to do this now because you need to see the fucking full shot. Come on, keyboard. Keyboard, you're going to annoy me. There you go. It includes that lamppost. But otherwise, you've made quite a nice shot that does what I said. It gives you a place to put your words. It includes some foreground, depth, rule of thirds. It's nearly all there, but you needed to move the camera a little bit more just to get, because you've got a lamppost thing in the shot there. So you've kind of buggered that up. Like if this was me and I'd sent someone out with a camera, because quite often on media jobs, you say to somebody, right, you take that camera, go and get me some general views. And what we mean by that is get me some wide shots of the place that we're in, get me some looks, you know, some images of it from different angles so that we can use it in the edit. If we're talking about Blackpool Tower, that's a good GV of Blackpool Tower. What you could do is you could start on one thing and then move over to Blackpool Tower. You'll see it in Homes in the Country, or you'll see it in Homes Under the Hammer, or you'll see it in that one where they go to the auctions, Cash in the Attic. You know, there's like, the camera's here, and then it moves to this. And then it's like out of focus this, and then it's an in focus that. There's like a set of little package of GVs that everyone shoots. So general views, you want to go and get them. And if I said to somebody to go and get them, and they fucking shot that with the lamppost on the right-hand side, I would never use them again. Like, what are you doing? Like, now I have to crop that in the edit, and now it's not going to be full, unless it's in 4K, it's not going to be full 1080p because I have to crop that, and you've ruined the shot, and you can't even see it. Why can't you see it? What's wrong with you? You're looking through the viewfinder, that's your job. Like, I find that a bit of a shame. So I don't complain at people, but I just don't use them again if they're going to do that. But I do have very, very little cause to employ people now. So if I've ever worked with you before as a camera person and employed you, and you'll think, oh God, why is he not using me? No, you were good. You were good. It's just I don't have much cause to employ people anymore at the moment, but I might do in the future.
In 1994, the Blackpool Tower was soon coined as the Wonderland of the world.
That's out of focus.
The tower is 150.
And now it's slightly in focus. And what are we looking at? It's such a mess of an image. If we're looking at that hanging mermaid light thing, all that crap building on the left-hand side and all the wires ruin it, don't they? So I guess you'd want to change your positioning so you get a better shot of it.
58 metres tall, and
that's a shot of a lamppost.
Is made from steel and cast iron.
Oh, we're looking at the thing in the background, right? But it's a shot of a lamppost.
And is inspired by the Eiffel Tower itself. People paid to take an elevator ride to the top of the
a lift if you're in the UK
tower to see the views over the ocean and of Blackpool.
They paid to go up and to look and to see the views of the ocean and Blackpool. So why have you not showed us the views of the ocean and the Blackpool when you're talking about it in the edit? Why have we now got an image of a seagull?
So was the tower only ever intended to be a tourist attraction? Or is it possible that the tower could actually have had many other purposes before it?
Before it. That's not good English again. Was it a tourist attraction, or could it have had many other purposes before? Like, you can tell she hasn't learned the basics of grammar, construction and style, and that's a worry for someone who's going to be, you know, teaching you things on the internet. So could the power, and bear in mind now, this is really important, why don't they chuffing well say what they think? Is it possible that this and this? Is it possible? I'll tell you why, because if you say I think this, then someone can flag it, get it off. It's rubbish, stupid, misinformation, fake news. Like, if you say what you think, it can be binned off. So they're so careful, right? They're so careful not to say what they think, but just to allude to it in conjecture. Yeah, okay, so could it have been a fucking something else? The Blackpool Tower. This is their, you know, thing, their list, what's in the Blackpool Tower. I add an ode to the Eiffel. If you've ever wondered why the Blackpool Tower looks so familiar, it's because it was modelled after the famous Eiffel Tower in Paris. The Mayor of Blackpool, John Bickerstaff, attended the Great Paris Exhibition in 1889. Okay, he attended, and it's not just like we're saying he attended it. I'm sure if we dig into it, there'll be records of his attendance and him being the actual mayor. He attended it in 1889. He was so impressed by the structure, he commissioned the Blackpool Tower to be built upon his return. In fact, he loved it so much, he invested £2,000 of his own money into the construction. So now we can look at the Eiffel Tower, because this is what inspired the Blackpool Tower. Yeah? And thank God we've got pictures, actual photographic evidence of it being built from the ground up, riveted together with iron. It was done for the World's Fair. Like, this isn't Antiquitech, is it? Because number one, it's not antique. It's not antiqui. It is now, but then it was brand new. Antique means, I think, over 50 years old. I don't know what the definition of Antiquitech is. I don't know if we can get a definition. I certainly shouldn't do it on Google, should I? But Antiquitech. I wonder if I can get a definition of that. Oh, it just calls it a conspiracy theory. Just says it's a conspiracy theory. All right, I'll try Ecosia. Antiquitech. Ecosia, because Ecosia don't have an iron in the fire, they're planting trees. So it gives us this. See, it's a bit like Ductor, it gives us something different, doesn't it? Can't believe I'm clicking on this. I've always had this funny feeling, those fancy classical stone structures covered. Like, I don't want to know. I want to know what Antiquitech means. The concept of Antiquitech is using the architectural form and shape to attract the natural static electric charge present in the atmosphere to tap the atmospheric etheric energy as a much more subtle force of nature that science has classified AEE as dark matter. No, it hasn't. Dark matter is something different. That's not what science has not decided to. That doesn't make sense. Atmospheric etheric energy. But you said it was static electrical charge. So static. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Again, I'll use. So now we know that Ecosia is fair, and we can use Ecosia because it took us to this. Yeah, we'll use Ecosia again. Static electricity is produced by friction. It's about the surface of two materials, or the surface of a material. So I don't see how the excess charge is neutralised when brought close to a large electrical conductor. Gets grounded. Neutralisation of a charge. See, I don't see how that seems to fit. It's maybe something that's confusing to people who don't have a deep knowledge of this. And to me, you know, now we're going to have to get into magnetostasis and things. People think they get a good knowledge of this from watching videos by people like Ken Bloody... The diamagnetic electric, the combination of the insular and the diamagnetic electric feeding into the counter space. Antiquitech is tech from antiquity. See, it's maybe though. How do I only have 140 subs with 247 videos? So, Lindsay, if you're going to critique me on the size of my YouTube channel, that's really pedantic and minor. What I've been doing for the last... what I've been doing is producing YouTube content of a different style. I'm in a new vanguard of YouTube streamers, starting from scratch, and what's the word? Eclectic, different content. So I know that it's harder for me to grow. I know that. I'm not doing the Mr. Beast stuff myself. I'm not doing that. But if you want to see my channel, you'll like this, because if you're into views, yeah, if that's your thing. If you want to go down here and click True Binaural and ASMR, right, and you want to have a look at these videos. If you sort these by most popular, this is my channel. My ASMR video there has got 400,000. That one's got 200,000. That one's got 200,000. I've made a documentary that's got 60,000. Oh, I've also got a documentary that I was part of that was on Netflix. You know Netflix? Have you heard of Netflix? I've been on Netflix. So that's not, you know, I've had the success. I've been there, I've done that. If this is not necessarily growing at the same rate initially, I don't know if that means that there's something at fault with me, but I'm happy with what we're doing. And it's growing, it's always been growing, and it will grow more as we get bigger, because you have this, a bit like, you have this snowball effect. It grows more as it gets bigger or quicker. It's not a critique. And oh, okay, Lindsay, sorry, I misread. Sorry, I'll apologise because I misread your tone. Because I do get a lot of negativity on the old comments from time to time. I'm sorry, I apologise. Honestly, I do apologise. I shouldn't be jumping to the wrong conclusion. Yeah, I don't. You know, I think YouTube is not suggesting our work in that way, and I'm not playing the YouTube game. I've got other channels that can. I need an editor. Frankly, I need an editor so that when I'm offline, someone else can edit this, what I'm saying now, into a really punchy 5-minute episode that can go on a clips channel, and that clips channel gets the views and develops and fits the algorithmic style of, you know, content, and then people come here to see the more longer form stuff. But I don't want to make Mr. Beast videos, so if that's how to be successful on YouTube, I'll abandon the success and I'll just do what I'm doing. You know, I just do it because I enjoy doing it. And at some point we're going to show, this channel will show my new film, and then after I've shown that film and it's been shown and all that, I've then got a budget and a media product, and I'll go on to make another film. That's my plan. So because my last film didn't sell to Netflix, my new one, it didn't sell to Netflix. So I've just got to get it out somehow. Anyway, let's go back to Jade. No, wait, what are we doing? We're talking about Antiquitech and shit, aren't we? I mean, we're talking about static electricity. So you can get static electricity from going down a slide. So a slide's Antiquitech. I don't know. I don't believe, though, right? Even if, right? So the principle here we're suggesting, I'm just guessing here because there's so much involved. But what we're saying is about Blackpool Tower, right? What we're saying about Blackpool Tower, and this is images of it being built in the 1800s. And what we're saying about Blackpool Tower is that it was built to capitalise on some sort of old tech. But it wasn't built in the old times. It was built in the modern times. 1800 to 1900, you know, that's modern fucking times, yeah? It wasn't built in the old times, it was built in modern times. And since it's been built, it has never ever been used for any sort of power production, any sort of, there's never been any features of electricity visible, like static sparks or lightning strike. Maybe it's been struck by lightning, to be fair, maybe that, but no feature of that. And if it were, consider this, right? My clips are obviously popular. I know how to make a clip that's going to go a little bit popular. Doesn't mean those people are going to watch my videos. Anyway, look, and I've got another YouTube channel that I've never shown anyone that made me some money as well, but I'll dip into that another day, because I didn't carry it on because I decided that I had a YouTube channel, right? This is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow everyone's mind. I'll picture it didn't happen. Another day we'll do an episode about it. But I had a channel. It took off. I got the monetization. I got $200+ on one of the months. $200 fucking dollars. And I looked at it, and I looked at it all, and I thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. I just don't feel good doing this. The videos that got the most views were the ones that were fundamentally critiquing people, and they were, you know, putting their heads up for critique. Let's be fair, they were putting their head, but they weren't the worst people in the world. They were just other YouTubers and, you know, and this and that. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the taste of it. I didn't like getting the money rolling in. Nobody knows which one that was, Angie. Nobody knows. I've kept it secret, even from the audience on the channel. I wanted to see if my ideas would sell, or, you know, because I didn't want my face on it, because then they'd say, oh, it's you saying that. I didn't want it faceless. Just, you know, here's the videos. And the ideas they were popular. They're not bad ideas either. They're not awful ideas. But I felt so bad for the people that were the focus of the videos. A bit like what we're doing here. Except I don't feel so bad for these people. But, you know, I just didn't like it. I didn't like that concept of a channel. And if I every week was going to have to make another video like that in order to pay my wages, I thought, fuck it, I'll just bin it off. So I've already given up the money a number of times. Yeah. So what we're saying about this, though, right? Okay, look, for example, a Van de Graaff generator creates a massive electro field. Like, we can create electric fields, yeah? And David says you'd run a copper cable up the tower, yeah, because iron and steel are not good conductors. I've got another point to make about it, which is that if that were the case, and that was your power generator, and it ran on static electricity, then you'd be totally beholden to the weather, wouldn't you? Like in thunderstorms, everyone would have their lights on, and when it was sunny, there'd be no power. And in England, we have a few thunderstorms, and it's rainy sometimes, but it's not known as a massive build-up charge static electricity generating area, is it? You know, you don't walk around with cats or with their hair stood on end, do you? You don't see that. I'm a bit concerned that if this was the method of power generation, that it wouldn't serve the purpose well enough. And also, wouldn't it be strange? You'd have to put it there, right? Because that's the best place to charge static. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you put it in London where they've got the fucking people? Why does Blackpool because before the tower and the tourism, before the Industrial Revolution, Blackpool was not a big city. It was just a minor seaside town. Why would it require a fucking vast pylon to power? It doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense. And they built it in the modern times. So it doesn't make sense that it would be to do with electricity and power for the ancient people, because there was no settlement here for the ancient people. It hasn't been there for a long time. None of these ideas, see how these ideas don't match up and don't fit together? Either it's been there for a long time, it's Antiquitech, and it's something to do with something that we don't understand anymore. Well, it's not, because we've got photos of them building it. We've got photos of them building the Eiffel Tower, which informed it. We've got, like, the Eiffel Tower still standing. We've got the plans, the blueprints. In no part of the blueprints or the plans does it mention static electricity. The Eiffel Tower's got elevators. She said this has got a fucking elevator. So why would a lift in England? Thank you. Why would anyone go up in a lift if you're going to get blown apart by electricity? How safe can that be to put a lift in your electrical power generator? Like, these things don't make sense, do they? They don't make sense. Another issue is that the Eiffel Tower and the Blackpool Tower are grounded on rocks. Like, they're placed on rocks. There's not any subsurface structure to do anything with the power. It, like, goes into the ground, because the reason is because if it gets hit by electricity or whatever, they don't want the electricity to flow throughout the rest of the building, because it would blow the fucker up and electrocute you. What they want is for that to ground itself into the earth. So it's not gonna, it doesn't make sense, right? And it's either one or the other, right? But it can't be both. She's not telling us what she thinks it is. This is a crucial, important point. You can't really make an argument and say, oh, I think this might be this or might be the other or might be something. But it's not what they say it is. And what do they say it is? Well, they say it's just a novelty to attract attention based on the novelty of the Eiffel Tower, which was built in Paris, which was also to show off our modernity. Because in a World's Fair, you show off your modernity. So the Eiffel Tower was built with modern construction techniques. Rivets, steel, modern construction techniques. So it's not Antiquitech, it's modernity. It's about modernisation, and it's about showing that off. We've got photographs of it being built from the ground up. We've got the construction records. We've got the blueprints here. So the plans, how to build it, how it was built. There's nothing that suggests anything about Antiquitech in this. So we're happy now, aren't we? We're all happy. Even if you believe in Antiquitech, right? Even if you, and we'll get on to Zeppelins, even if you believe in Antiquitech, this is the problem with this conspiracy rubbish, is that you can say, oh, well, the Blackpool Tower is not Antiquitech, but the rest of it is. The rest of it is. Well, this one categorically isn't, though, isn't it? We know that because we've got the blueprints. They include elevators. They include lifts. You wouldn't put lifts in if it was going to be a power generator, would you? It makes no sense. Energy can travel without wiring. It can travel through the air. Okay, well then why do we need a fucking great big conductor for it? Why do you need a tower? Why do you need, if you're going to, why don't we all just have our own little miniature energy generators? Because it's everywhere in the air. Why do we need one giant fucking tower? If it was Antiquitech, why are they so shit at their tech? Why do we all have mobile phones? Their equivalent was one great big phone. Like, come off it. That doesn't make any sense. Why aren't they everywhere? Why don't we all need one? Was that one powering the whole of the UK? Or just Blackpool? Why did Blackpool need power? Because before they put this in, there was nobody there. It was a small town. Blackpool grew through the tourism. She said it. It grew in the Victorian times, because what happened in the Victorian times is we went through the Industrial Revolution, right, which meant we had factories, we had steam power, we had steel production, like this sort of scale. Right, when that happened, it meant people could travel the world easy. We had a mass immigration to America. There was a famine in Ireland and a mass immigration. Like millions of people went to America, and suddenly sprang up this new world powered by the Industrial Revolution and the new technologies. So we didn't need old Antiquitech. We would bang on the new technologies at that time. And so we went to Blackpool for our holidays, because all of a sudden you've got a job, and your job pays you money, and it's consistent, and you work in the factory, and so do the rest of your family, and you get 2 weeks off a year for holidays, and you go up to Blackpool because you've got free time. Because free time didn't exist before, because you were a farmer, subsistence economy. You had to use all of your time to survive. Now we're suddenly, in this new world of holidays, travel, transport, leisure time. And we've got Blackpool. So if you can find another explanation as to why Blackpool grew and why they needed a tower, because if you want these towers there and they are part of Antiquitech and some kind of power jet, why don't you need them in Manchester, Liverpool? Why doesn't Liverpool have its own tower? Why aren't there towers everywhere? Why was it just like, because we've got a reasonable explanation for this one, which is the fellow went to Paris. The towers are not necessary. That's why we don't have them everywhere. They're just novelties to show off building techniques, construction style, modernity. And he thought it'd be a good idea for his tourist town, as people are coming to visit the tourist town, to create an attraction. So he built a tourist attraction. That does make sense. That does make sense. Blackpool was Albion, a slave colony to the Ottoman Empire. That doesn't make sense. I mean, we'd all be a slave. And the Ottoman Empire was like the Turks, wasn't it? That was post-Islamic. I don't think it makes sense that we would, because we would have had the symbolism of that inbuilt in our, like, you know, we go back to the Celts. You know, you can trace us back to the Celts. You know, we've got older archaeology. I can't, you know, deal with that now. Can't deal with that. But, bodies of water are needed. Well, that's fine, because they're everywhere in the country. London's got the, you know, you'd build the body of water. You wouldn't just rely on, we're not near the sea, we've got no power. You just build the body of water near you, wouldn't you? Just build a lake, a reservoir. They're all over the UK. Why aren't they building these next to reservoirs? Because if it got hit by lightning, that would electrocute the water, and then everything that was touched by the water would be in trouble. It would be dangerous. It'd be dangerous. You know why they built this one by the sea? Not just because it was Blackpool and they're trying to attract people, but they said we'll build it right on the sea, because if it ever fall, the people of the town were so worried it was going to fall down, they inbuilt into the design a fail-safe mechanism such that if it ever fell over, it would fall into the sea. That's why they built that one near the sea. There's a reason. There's a reason. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the other things to be the reason. It just doesn't. So let's continue with what Jade's saying, and her awful video with terrible camera work. You'd at least want a tripod and a long lens to shoot that.
Tower does seem to be covered in what is known in the community as Antiquitech.
It seems to be covered as what is known as in the community. We can't get a simple sentence out, Jade, can we? It does seem to be covered in what is known in the community. What community? As Antiquitech. So it doesn't know. From what I can see, it just is a tower. I can see the structure from here. It's not covered in anything. It's iron, and it's got just a very light coating of protective paint. And that's it. It's not covered in anything. There's an elevator lift shaft in the middle. Definitely not covered in anything. Very, very the same as what it was way back then. Very, very the same. And she's suggested this, asserting it, but she's not saying it because she's cowardly. She don't want to be taken off YouTube. She needs the money. So it does seem to be covered in what is known as the community. We're on Google and we're not saying the words. We're afraid. We're afraid to say the tower is Antiquitech, aren't we? We're afraid to say that. Why? Because if it were ever proven to be bullshit, then you are proven to be bullshit. If you say, oh, it might be, it could be, maybe this, and someone proves it to be bullshit, then you turn around and say, well, I never said it was. I said they said it was. Do you see how conniving and snide she is? If you're going to believe someone who won't even stand up and state their case clearly, what's going on? Why so cowardly? There's the same photographs again. So a weird edit choice there. I'm going to turn off my music because this is her music as well. A weird edit choice to state something and not to zoom in, point out, elaborate on, just to show the same photographs. And why are these photographs now? We're not allowed to use photographs for Flat Earth. We're not allowed to use photographs off Google. She's got her photographs off fucking Google. Course she has. Course she has. Google. Blackpool Tower. She's on Google because she's on YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. Blackpool Tower. Let's see if I can find... What am I looking for here? Where's she gone? Can I find something that looks like that? It's right straight on, right front on. Is it that one? It's not that one. Is it that one? That one's got a helter-skelter around it. I'd have used that one. That would have been better. Is it that one? She's found a photograph anyway, hasn't she, off Google? I was hoping it would just be the first one, because quite often they're the first one that come up, and then you're like, fucking hell, you just used that first image that came up. Maybe if I do tools, maybe they don't use Creative Commons work, because maybe they don't understand. But Creative Commons, that's the one you want to use. We'll go back to Jade. Where's she gone? So why isn't she filming her own stuff and using photographs off the internet instead? Because she can't film very well, and she hasn't got any actual content. There you go. That's Antiquitech there. It looks very much just like fucking windows and lights, but you know, and wouldn't all those lights blow up when the power was surging through it or something?
Tower today does have radio transmitters on there. It could be possible with the right technology that the tower could be equipped to transmit EMF energies.
I don't know what EMF energies are, electromagnetic frequency energies. What are you fucking talking about? It would interfere with your radio signal. The radio signals were put on there during the war because there was a fucking war and we had to use things for wartime purpose. They were there for the RAF. I know that. They put them on during the war. So they weren't there originally. So the fact that you know they put those on in the 1940s. We know that. Photographic evidence records, there was a fucking war. We put them on in the 1940s. So why on earth would it need them? Do you know what I mean? It's not part of the original design. It's not part of the original design. So you think that's some sort of... In the 1940s, we started to transmit EMF energies off the top of the tower. What the fuck are you on about?
I decided to look around the tower to see if I could see any nearby evidence of Antiquitech on old world buildings.
That's not an old world building, is it? That's not an old world building.
I saw many suspects.
This is not an old world building. Like, this is the modern times. And what do you mean you saw many suspects? What's that? It's a fucking bus shelter in a Victorian style. What the fuck are you on about? So she's told us there are many examples, but she's not telling me what the examples are. Again, that's very poor. She's showing me some pictures of some things on roofs. Quite often you have these weather diviners or flagpoles or peaks on, or even lightning rods on top of buildings like this. I don't know what you think it proves. It's weird to think that it proves electromagnetic frequency, because otherwise that would still be generating the fucking magnetic electro thing, wouldn't it? It wouldn't stop just because... Why would it stop? Is there something missing from it? Is that what you're saying? It just... That's the copper dome. That's an architectural style choice.
Tower. If the
lining up with the tower. It's not. Look on a map. Let's look on a map of Blackpool. Let's get Blackpool. It's not lining up with any tower, is it? There's nothing... There's no, like, lining up with the tower gone on here. Is there? I think you're a bit confused, love. I think you're a bit confused. So, where's the tower? It's down here, isn't it? Down the south around here. There's Sea Life. I think it's there, isn't it? By Sea Life. There's the Blackpool Tower. Tower Dungeon. That'll be the Blackpool Tower. No, wait, no, it won't. Where's the... Okay, look, just type it in, idiot. Blackpool Tower. Oh, no, it is there, yeah. It's there, right. So, there's the Blackpool Tower. It's on the seafront, like I said. Now, you can't actually see it up, can you? Oh, you can on Google, look. You can see it up. There's the Blackpool Tower, yeah? We're on the seafront, so if it ever falls over, it falls this way. Crash! Onto there. That's the Blackpool Tower. Now, what's lining up with it? Well, obviously nothing on the seafront, because they don't want it to crash into it. So there's nothing lining up with it on the seafront, on that direction. There's nothing that direction that you can see, is there? There's no spires, there's no things. There's all this electrical cabling for their lights, their Blackpool illuminations. But you can ignore that, because Blackpool has not always been proud of its illuminations since pre-tower days. So down there, there's nothing I can see, no spires, and maybe one spire in the distance. So are we saying it's not in a north to south direction that it lines up with it? Where do these things line up with it? It seems a bit weird. Let's go back to this map. So Blackpool is not, like America. America has grid systems, doesn't it? Has grid systems. In the UK, we built up these places sort of more higgledy-piggledy in a way. Our roads often are straight because they're Roman roads, but quite often they can be curvy, like this main road into Blackpool here. This Lytham Road, curvy. And then you've got these little housing estates and things that are built into it. So there's no like clear structural plan to Blackpool. They didn't say, right, let's build a grid and line things up. There's no structural plan. If you want to start lining things up, then you can go along the seafront, north to south, the Grand Hotel, the Savoy, and they line up because they're on the seafront. And that's just a natural geographical feature. Yeah? But they also have things like this crematorium, this place, whatever, that are further back that don't line up. And I believe if you zoom in, you'll find a few of these. Like the train station, for example, is further back. So now you've got a different line. Different line. The Opera House further back. Different line. So these things don't necessarily line up, do they? They're just all over the place. And if you draw straight lines between two things, they don't also include all the other things. That's just rubbish. It's just rubbish. Just pure rubbish.
Tower was installed with Old World Antiquitech. This would suggest that the actual construction was a lot earlier than we actually currently think.
Right, again, if it was installed with Old World Antiquitech, which she won't say it is because she's too scared to get bumped off YouTube, isn't she? If she said that, then we might think it was earlier than we actually think. Well, it can't be. It can't be. It simply can't be because it was produced by pieces of iron that were made in factories. Like, we got photographs of them building it. It was based on the Eiffel Tower, and that we've got photographs of them building that. This is all the... Look, there's the photographs of all the people. I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It is ridiculous to suggest that this was built a lot earlier than we think. Then who thinks? What are you on about? Like, Blackpool didn't even exist as a town. It wasn't busy. It was built for that purpose. We talked about that. Blackpool Tower being built. The images. So here are the people building the Blackpool Tower. They are photographed. Now I know this is Google and you're going to tell me you can't use Google. So I'll bin that off and I'll open up Ecosia. Sorry. And if you don't like Ecosia, we can use whichever one you use one of these days. But I don't want to necessarily have DuckDuckGo on my computer because I don't want the police to think I'm some dark web paedophile. Right, so we're going to use Ecosia and we're going to say Blackpool Tower being built. Images. And we know Ecosia showed us your shit earlier. So it's showing us this. Look, there we go. There we go, look. There it is. That's a photograph of it being built. It's all built on stone, footings. It's being built. It's not being built in the past, like ancient Egypt. All the other things around confirm that. The style of the streets, the printing, the style of the buildings, the processed boards. The actual building materials themselves are modern building materials. So there can be no question. There can be no question that this was built. That there's colour photography. There can be no question. Look at the clothes they're wearing. No question whatsoever. And I challenge you that the peak of the tower doesn't even... If you wanted to build electromagnetic and all that, you'd use circles. You wouldn't use a grid like that. It doesn't even fit electromagnetic ideas. I put it to you, the tower should have been built circular. If that were the case. And certainly not with a viewing platform on top. So no more can we say that it was potentially built in... Like, that's obviously bullshit that she's verified. Why? How possible? Okay, I've got another thing to bring up that's really important. What's she doing on YouTube? Is she making journalism? Is she helping you to learn things? What is she doing on YouTube? Journalistic standards. I'm Googling this now, but journalistic ethics and standards comprise of principles and ethics and good practice. The subset of media ethics is known as journalism's professional code of ethics. Now, I did a whole module when I was studying A-levels on ethics of media. A whole module. So it's not just one thing I can explain over, just 5 minutes here, but there are loads of different codes of practice and ethics, but there are some common elements. It says, look, you need to be as accurate as possible. You need, if your eyewitnesses are present, you need to attribute who's saying it. You need independent fact-checking by another employee or publisher. See that one? Independent fact-checking. Don't just trust me. Someone who doesn't believe and aren't on my side necessarily will fact-check and say, you know what? You're actually, right. Independent fact-checking. I'm doing that here. I'm independent. I've got no iron in the fire for this. I'm not a Tartarian. I'm not even a fucking debunker. You said earlier, how come my videos haven't got taken off on YouTube, aren't so good on YouTube? Because I just do all sorts of shit. I'm not in this. I'm not in this, right? So, you see, if you talk about Tesla, this can't be Tesla because Tesla's towers are not designed like this. I can accept Tesla. Shut up. I can accept Tesla had views on electricity and was interested. I can't accept that Ken does. Ken's a bit, we can debunk Ken another day, right? But we can accept Tesla was in this field, but this is not his design. They're different designs. Look into them. Look at them. Just look at them. Tesla's design. Tesla, we'll put tower. I am on Google. Tesla's tower, it seems similar to you because it's just like built out of iron and it's structured, but it's not the same. It's got a dome on top and it's in a circle, the tower. It's in a circle. It's not the same. It's not the same. And we don't actually, haven't confirmed exactly how Tesla's stuff all works and whether it does work, but it's not the same. And if we were using that as a principle to generate electricity for the masses, you think it's got to be by a body of water, but Tesla's didn't necessarily. Does this include some sort of water? No? Does Tesla's involve water? Doesn't seem it to me. And is that the inside structure of the Blackpool Tower? No. No. Tesla is really interesting. It is. It's really interesting stuff and it's worth getting into. But some people will start you on that road and then start you off that road and then confuse you with a load of other shit. These look similar, but they're not the same. They're just not the same. Look at that, for Christ's sake.
If this old world tech survived the last reset, it would mean that the people in this new world wouldn't know how to make use of this technology.
Except Tesla was New World, wasn't he? Tesla was the one experimenting New World. So what you're saying is he discovered it and didn't know how to make use of it, but it existed before, but he still couldn't figure it out. I mean, what's going on?
As the knowledge has been lost or hidden. Eventually...
It hasn't been lost or hidden. Nothing's lost or hidden. We dig things up, we share them. I'll go back to the journalism, though. She's just made an assertion. It's been lost or hidden. Has that been independently fact-checked? Is it as accurate as possible? Have we got any eyewitness accounts? Are we publishing any errors that are discovered? Opinions and surveys deserve special treatment to contextualise the results. We're not contextualising her opinions. She's not being a journalist. She's not doing quality journalism that scrutinises. She's just making conjecture. Wild conjecture. Nothing backs it up.
These old world buildings installed with Antiquitech would decay and the tech would eventually be gutted from many buildings.
I mean, so now she's saying it would decay. So how old does this have to be before that tower rots, corrodes and falls over if no one's maintaining it? Because you're assuming that these are not maintained, haven't they? They've not been maintained because they've been left mud flooded and fallen over. So I'm just going to ask Ecosia, how long would it take for... Should I do the Eiffel Tower? Because I think it's more likely to come up. Eiffel Tower to corrode and fall? I'll just put that, see if it gives us an answer. How long can it last, the Eiffel Tower? See, it's, people are interested in that as a question, aren't they? How long can it last? See, the pyramids were there for 4,000 years. The tower's been repainted every 7 years, so it can last forever. And 1,000 years. 1,000 years, it suggests here. And that, you'd understand that, wouldn't you? Metal fatigue, it would corrode. The environmental factors would corrode it without any maintenance. And over a period of about 1,000 years, it would topple. Eventually losing some sort of structural fortitude in a key area, it would topple. That's the view of Bertrand Lemoine, an architect, engineer and historian, a research director at CRNS, and manager of an international organisation in Paris, recognised specialist in the history and current events of architecture. Okay, he sounds like he's got a good background in this. All that stuff about lightning here as well. Let's have a look at that. So first one before we go on to the lightning, I want you to be clear on this. That she's saying the Blackpool Tower was discovered, potentially. She's not saying it definitely, but discovered. Yeah, discovered. Look, is Paris near a body of water? Is Paris near a body of water? That's a good point. Well, everywhere's near a body of water, isn't it? Because depending on how far you're willing to stretch, I mean, there's the Seine. There's a river in Paris. Everywhere's near a body of water, really. It comes out the sky as well. If you're not near the water, unless you're in the Sahara Desert, it comes out the sky. So anyway, she's saying this could be really old, couldn't it? So if the Blackpool Tower was really old, and if that was built more than 1,000 years and then discovered, it has to be within 1,000 years that it gets discovered, because otherwise it would corrode and fall over. If you don't want to, if you don't want to believe this and you don't want to believe that, accept that. Make a very small one. Put it in your garden. See how long it lasts. Multiply that by the time it takes on the big one. Do your mathematics on your principle. It will corrode. It will corrode. A motor vehicle, cars. Have you ever had a car that's got rusty? A motor vehicle will corrode. All these big metal things will corrode. You have to maintain them. So it's not possible. When I say not possible, I mean not possible. The only thing that you might find is you might find a fallen tower, and you might find the base of the tower. If it was all over the world, they built these because it's Antiquitech. It was some great civilization. Yeah, it was some great civilization. It wasn't just one one little tower here, one little tower there. It was all over the fucking world, wasn't it? The Tartarian Ottoman Empire that evolved. Why haven't I got one in my town? Where is the fallen tower structure? Where is the Antiquitech in my town? Where's the why have we all not got them? Doesn't make sense. Why is it not consistent throughout the globe? Because they were a global, earthly, why is the architecture not consistent? Why are the different styles and forms? How does it not adhere to the same structural premise as Tesla's? This one's got multiple different turrets on. So how do they interact with each other? It doesn't seem to make sense to me. It doesn't means it doesn't have to make sense to you, but lightning in the Eiffel Tower. Lightning in the Eiffel Tower. This is going to be interesting, isn't it? When lightning strikes occur elsewhere on the lightning conductors, they can also reach the top antenna or lattice girders of the structure. When that happens, the lattice structure of the tower plays a protective role and acts like a Faraday cage, a sort of metal enclosure that directs the energy of the lightning to the ground, only through the outside of the building. Fortunately, the public don't access these external beams, so there's no danger to the tower in a storm. That's really interesting, really interesting. So it's about directing the electricity to make it less dangerous, and the way they do that is to make it peter out through the structure and ground it. So that would be counterintuitive if you wanted to use it for power, because you wouldn't want it to dissipate. You wouldn't want it to be grounded and removed. You'd want it to be multiplied and trapped. When you have a lightning strike, that's your lights on. But what happens next when the lightning's finished? Nothing, your lights go off. You'd need continual lightning, or as you suggest, continual static electricity. It's not possible to have continual static electricity around these towers. They don't generate it from what we can see. There's something missing, obviously, from what we can see, because they're not working. and they're not everywhere. And even if they were there, the way they've been built would work against transmitting the power to other sources. Lightning goes from the ground up. Yeah, you have a electromagnetic sort of, you know, tail that comes off your head, and other structures go up, and it meets the light, the same thing from the sky, and it creates a circuit essentially that it can travel through, doesn't it? Yeah, I know that. But there you go. It doesn't. And also, the Eiffel Tower is not the only building in Paris to be hit by lightning. For each storm, it depends on the cloud mass and the electrical activity in the sky, and other places get struck by lightning. So lightning's a common thing. We have lightning rods to prevent us from receiving the damage from it. It doesn't make sense that you would then use that to power your... And also, if that was your system and it was electrostatic power, a lightning strike would just fucking overload it, wouldn't it? I don't know, man. It doesn't seem to... It looks like they know a lot about how electricity passes through the tower, doesn't it? It looks like they know a lot about that. It looks like it was part of the fucking design and reasoned so that it can be prevented from spreading around, and not so that we can use it for power. Yeah, I mean, that's the view of, you know, professional people, but this is the view of some... I mean, also, top this... I'm going to go and grab myself another cup of tea in a second, so just 1 second. I'll grab my things from the kitchen so I can prepare. I'll just do one quick second. I don't need this, actually. I don't need this. I don't know why I went to get that. I don't need it. I'm an idiot. Scotty's an idiot. I'm not that bad of an idiot, though. Not like Jade. Right, so what I want you to question as well. Question the narrative. Remember this. We question the narrative. We're not idiots. We think for ourselves, right? So Jade is on the internet chatting this shit. Remember, Jade's on the internet chatting this shit. Jade lives in a van. Yeah, she's 30 years old. She hasn't got I don't know if she might. Yeah, she does have. She got a degree in architecture, didn't she, from York or something? Did she? Did she get a degree? Oh, that would really fuck me off. I don't think she seems like the person that you want to be taking this advice from. I think you might want to think for yourself. I don't know why Jade seems qualified to talk about these things. If she turns out to have a degree in architecture, I will concede that she has the qualification to talk about architecture. Yeah, but if she doesn't have a degree in history, I'm able to point that out. Now, I don't know why Jade is your source of... Look at her face there. She does this facial expression that I've seen in people that I think are real pieces of work. It's I can't even explain. I'm not doing body language now. I can't even explain it, but it makes me feel angry at them because I know they're looking at me like you're a cunt. Now, I just don't see why Jade is the person that you would trust. I don't know why she is... Where these people spring up from, do you know what I mean? Why aren't there people in the top institutions? Why aren't the top archaeologists? And they're all infected by the they. Why don't we get some really credible, really smart, really credible... Why isn't Jeff Bezos on this? Why isn't Elon Musk on this? They're the they. It has to be some chuffer who lives in a van who's got no money. It has to be some chuffer who's strutting through the grut for coinage. Why does it have to be these people that are your leaders and educators? I'll refer to Martin Liedtke as well because I don't want to, totally throw this all at Jade. But why does Martin Liedtke seem to be the font of knowledge with his massive reefers and his eclectic dress sense? Like Tesla, I dig. He was doing experiments. He was a scientist. He was a bit different from the others. I get that. I can see why he'd be interested in that. But fucking someone who travels around in a van, who don't know, put her... I said earlier about me being on a quiz team, yeah? Do you think Jade or me... I'd love to do head-to-head, Trivial Pursuit, whatever questions you want, fair, head-to-head, me versus Jade. We'll both sit an IQ test. I'd love to do that, both sit an IQ test. I'd probably come out lower than I believe. I did one when I was younger. I was going to sound like I'm boasting. I was 140-something. So I don't want to boast, but I did one at school. As I said before, I was in that upper echelon of exam passings. I got 2 A's, 6 B's, 4 C's for A, and 2 A stars for... I got A stars for maths and English. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I need to know if Jade comes up to this level of academic rigour, or if she's just some idiot in a van. When you talk to Jade on a day-to-day basis, you know, is her life perspective, her grasp of languages, her interest in coding, her, you know, her understanding of art, is that all rich and vibrant, or is she just a bit of a chuff who don't really get things properly? Because those things would make a big difference on whether I would follow her down this rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? Martin Liedtke was a building labourer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you can't be smart. I'm saying that people who she studied at one of the York universities and she didn't get anything construction related. So even, you know, smart people that get degrees don't have to always be the smartest, do they, on everything? Certainly degrees these days are easier to get in some ways and a bit more, you know, I regurgitate the information that it's what you do with your life and the rest of it as well, isn't it? It's the way that I don't know, I can't quite explain it. It's the rich tapestry of your personality that comes through, and I hope that on our stream I'm able to bring up some fresh things. Oh, what about this, and how about that? Oh, I remember this. But I don't see Jade doing it. What I see her doing in her little video is just like, oh, maybe they did this with a tower, and maybe the tower was for that. And have you seen this? It's all in a line. These are old. That's old. Old compared to what? You were talking about the pyramids in chat earlier. How old are these buildings in Blackpool? They're not fucking pyramids old, are they? So it's just a load of shit, isn't it? From somebody who's only qualified to chat shit. So that's why I don't get it. And like, she's even included the blueprints.
If the tower was...
So she's found the fucking blueprints, but she can't understand them. So she doesn't realise that disproves everything she said. They built a ballroom underneath it, not a fucking power station. Like, that's the blueprints, that's the plans. It didn't exist, they did that, then they built it. Disproving her own point. So that's not the act of a smart person.
Was installed with Old World Antiquitech.
Where's my volume?
This would suggest that the actual construction was a lot earlier than we actually...
That's not the act of a smart person.
If this old world tech survived the last reset, it would mean that the people in this new world wouldn't know how to make use of this technology, as the knowledge has been lost or hidden. Eventually, these old world buildings installed with Antiquitech would decay and the tech would eventually be gutted from many buildings.
Rubbish.
I kept researching for photos of the tower and I did...
Researching. We said researching in the UK. Researching. We don't say researching because it's not a reversal, is it? It's not... It wasn't... I was searching and I turned it round on you and started researching. So researching. And she's not... I mean, is she? I don't know. I'd love to go with Jade and do some research together. Because the first place we probably want to go is a library, isn't it? Or something like that. But if you're just using the fucking internet and you're just looking at web pages on the internet and photos on Google, then it's rubbish. I mean, I'm not claiming to be a researcher because I'm doing this, am I? And it doesn't line up with any of the rigorous qualities that you would expect from research or journalism.
Come by some construction photos.
She's found construction photos. So that disproves it again.
Or were these actually photos of the tower being rebuilt?
Or were these actually photos of the tower being rebuilt? Well, if they were, then they're the fucking construction photos of it being rebuilt. I mean, what are you suggesting? Wait. If that were the case, then where's the fallen tower? Where's all the iron? Why did they rebuild it when they don't know how to use it? Obviously, it's not photos of the tower being rebuilt because the footings didn't exist before. We've got photos of them putting the footings in. Rebuilt from fucking scratch. Rebuilt from scratch with what evidence of it existing before? None, because it was hidden. Are you fucking mental? What you've said doesn't make sense. If the tower was being rebuilt, they would have had to have the plans which were hidden from them. They would have had to have all the materials which were lying around presumably because it fell over. Why they'd want to rebuild it wouldn't make sense because we're not using that grid system anymore. Who's going to spend the money on doing that? Massive project. People died. Like, why are they rebuilding it? Why? And the reason is, in reality, is because they built it in the first place at this. Our reality makes sense. What you're saying sounds like total shit.
being rebuilt.
And you've used really low-res photographs that you've ripped off Google.
In 1897, the tower had a fire. The fire could be seen for as far away as 50 miles.
Jesus Christ. I bet that's off Wikipedia. Watch this. I bet that's off Wikipedia, Mrs. Journalist. Blackpool Tower. Wikipedia. Show me the fire. Tower caught fire in 1887 and the platform was seen on fire from up to 50 miles away. She's literally just read that line out of Wikipedia. She's literally just read that from Wikipedia. Now you're telling me that Jade is a truther who's doing research. Yeah? Now I don't care if you think the earth is flat or round or what, you know, whatever. If you think in Tartaria, if you don't believe me, whatever. But you can't believe Jade. If you fly the flag for Tartaria, you can't believe Jade. Not because I've debunked her on whether it's a tower for power. Not whether it's a Tesla tower. Forget that. She's just read it off fucking Wikipedia. And you don't accept Google. And you don't accept YouTube. And you won't accept Wikipedia. You can't do research by just reading this off Wikipedia. Even the number of miles, the exact sentence. I've busted you, Jade. I've busted you. You're not doing research. You're just talking shit on the internet.
Could the fire have been caused by the Antiquitech if the New World didn't know how to work Antiquitech or keep it up to date?
How was the Blackpool Tower fire caused? Oh, and look, it wasn't painted properly during its first 30 years and it corroded. And they were going to talk about demolishing it. But they decided to rebuild it instead. So they did fucking rebuild it. So there is evidence of it being rebuilt. But not for the reasons you think. It was rebuilt and renewed. So you'd be able to follow that through. Wow. She's such an idiot, isn't she, really? She's such an idiot. How was the fire started? She's saying it could be started with Antiquitech. I mean, they probably know, don't they, how it started. How was the Blackpool Tower fire started? Jade's a real chuffer, man, isn't she? She's a real chuffer. An electrical problem. It's ironic, isn't it? They got the fire service down. Oh, was that a new? No, that was more modern. That was in December 2021. So maybe it's still happening. Because if it's Antiquitech, it can still... Jesus fucking Christ.
It could possibly have become corroded or even became dangerous.
She knows it was. Because it says it in that Wikipedia. We've just been there. We just read that. She's reading it off Wikipedia.
So could these construction photos actually be from the rebuild after...
Oh, no, yeah, because we know it was rebuilt. Because it's Wikipedia.
...the fire caused by Antiquitech. The Antiquitech was not properly maintained because these New World people didn't know how to do so.
New World people. We're not in the New World here. The New World was America. This is Blackpool.
And off on a slight tangent here, but I do...
And off on a slight tangent here... Not that everything isn't a slight tangent on my stream, but like fucking...
It's suspicious that the men who founded and designed the tower died in 1893, 1 year before it was actually finished being built. If we go with the theory of the tower already being here from...
I can explain that. It's quite easy. If you want to found and build a tower, you've got to be a bit of a cheese, haven't you? You've got yourself in a bit of a position, maybe earned a bit of money, whatever. Maybe you're the mayor, because it was the mayor that suggested it. To get to that position in this time... would have taken you some time. You don't vote in a fucking 12-year-old boy as the mayor, do you? Life expectancy at this time would have been lower. It would have been lower. So you wouldn't have gone on to live at 90, 100. So by the time you become the mayor, you're in that bracket where your life expectancy, you know, you're nearly on your way. Do you know what I mean? You don't live that long. It's no surprise that the people who are in the position to erect these sort of monuments were also in the position to be likely to die sooner. That makes sense. Isn't everyone in an armchair news douche? Not everyone It's the point that anyone with the internet can prove their own brilliance. Yeah. Oh, wait, me, look. Me, this one's about me. A 60-year-old greying boomer with his cap on backwards, begging for subs and attention. Are you talking about me? Is that me? Bless you. Obviously, I'm not 60, am I? And I'm not a boomer. My parents were boomers, but I'm obviously not a boomer. And I've got my cap on backwards. What I do is I wear this. Right? I wear this. Someone bought it me as a present because it says Ganji Kid. They bought that me. And otherwise, I just got my hair out. Look at this. Otherwise, I just got my hair out. And then my hair keeps getting in my eyes and it keeps getting in my mouth. So I just wear that. It's not a fashion choice, that. It's not a fashion choice. It just keeps the hair out of my eyes. And I'll tell you for why. Because I don't give a shit about fashion. Yeah? I don't give a shit about fashion. Because I'm not going to critique someone for the way they wear their cap. Because I'm not a cock. So, you know, I hope my kids... I don't have children. I'd love to have them one day. I'd love to have them one day. And if it's cringy to you, that's a bullying word, cringe. Everyone does things that are a little bit embarrassing from time to time. And if you can't laugh it off and laugh at yourself, then you're a cock, aren't you? Then you're like arrogant and aloof. So if you think other people are cringy, cringe is a word invented on the internet by bullies. What it actually means is people sometimes do things that are a bit embarrassing. And that's okay. It's the way that you persist in your life. And, you know, if you wanted to accuse me of being cringeworthy, it would be the content of my character over a period of time, not just I said something once that was embarrassing or wore a cap. So I tell you what you want to do is you want to have a little think about what you've written there, because there it is. That's your ideas written up in the chat. You want to have a think about that and how that represents you, because what it's done is it showed off that you're prepared to be deliberately now malicious. 60-year-old greying boo. You think that's something that's going to hurt me, so you've said it to imply that I'm old, that I don't belong here because I'm old. Well, that's ageist, malicious, and it implies that you've got some sort of fear with the elderly or getting old. You're going to get old as well, mate. So we're all going to go through that. And the cap on backwards, I've ripped that. You know, obviously it doesn't matter a shit how I wear my hat. Begging for subs and attention. I assume you're talking about me here, Kappa. I'm assuming you're talking about me. At not one point have I begged for subs or attention. I just never beg for subs or attention. I produce content with value. So I know I don't have to pay attention to them, Lee. I know I don't, but I want to make it clear, like, sometimes these people think they hurt me with their comments, but I've opened the door to the shit room. I've opened the door to the shit room. So I expect it and I enjoy it. Like, you can see here, I'm not, honestly, this is not me going, I'm being, and then secretly I go for a cry. Like, that's not what's happening here. I enjoy those comments more, sadly, more than the standard normal comments. The thick of it, the shit room. This will do the copyright for the stream now. This will do the copyright for the stream. Where's the shit room? Oh, they're not going to, it won't have it. That's a shame. I love the thick of it. It's so funny. And on the thick of it, there's one episode where the dudes, it's politics. And the dudes behind the scenes of the politician set up a website for him, petermannion.com. And there's comments on the website, and he reads them, and it's all the worst things. And it's so fucking funny. The thick of it, Peter Mannion. I wonder if I can get it. Peter Mannion's website. Peter Mannion's website. No, I'm surprised that's not been selected as a real highlight. I'm going to have to watch the thick of it, record it, and upload it myself. But I'm surprised that's not a real highlight, because he basically, they set up this webpage and he's reading this horrible stuff about himself, and he turns to the lad who set it up and he goes, "You've just opened the door to the shit room. This is the shit room I'm in, and you've opened the door to the shit room." Not the chat room, the shit room. And so I think of that, like, you know, a slew of shit coming out of people. Like, I'm going to attract it now because I'm doing this stuff I'm laying into these people. So I'm going to attract it. Flies around shit. It's going to happen. Like, oh wait, they're the flies, I'm the shit. Oh no. I'm going to attract it, but it's fine. It's actually part of the entertainment. It's part of the entertainment. As long as it doesn't get too nasty in chat, you know, as long as anyone doesn't say anything nasty and I have to block them, bring them on. Let's have it. Let's have more of it. It's funny. Frankly, it's just funny. And if it turns that edge to bullying and nasty, I'll call that out as well, and it won't be funny then. It won't be funny. But, you know, throwing a few insults at me, it's fine. I can take it. In general, though, it's not a good way to be on the internet. It's not a nice way to behave. It's what's called being a cunt. And some people really take it to heart. And those people, you know, they have life problems because of it. You get bullying on Twitter. You get bullying on here. It's not, you know, if you want to make a contest the ideas, that's fine. If you want to talk about the different ideas about the Blackpool Tower, that's fine. I'm not bullying you for your ideas. I'm not saying you're a mean person for your ideas that are silly. But if you want to be a cunt, then I'll call you a cunt. If you want to be a bully, I'll call you a bully. And if you want to put it up there in text so everyone can see that you're a bully, then you've just shit your own bed like Amber Heard. Because everyone can now see that you're being a dickhead. So, you know, that's up to you. I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to block you. You know, bring it on. It's funny. But if it goes too far, I'll just call it out. If we're with the theory of the tower already being here, right, let's go on.
Maybe these two men, whilst reverse engineering this tower, found the Antiquitech knowledge or something underneath the building, and they were killed off so nobody would find out about this information.
Maybe someone was murdered. Maybe they were murdered so no one could find out. Maybe. Obviously, you'd have evidence, and do you know what I mean?
We can.
The thing is, hello, trolling's an art, right? I've been trolled. On that ASMR channel that I got the views on, someone took a little bit of my video and put it in their video, and they didn't send me an email, do you want to do a collaboration? None of that. They just used my sound in their video. They opened up this little box and was like, oh, does that sound good? Do you like that? And I was like, yeah, I fucking like that because it's my work. You've made money off your views and your money, and I don't monetize. Come on, mate. So I wrote him a little email, you know, can you just give me some charity money? Give the money I would have made to charity, please. Alternatively, just get rid of my bit in your video. Get rid of that. And could you make a video about mental health? Because I know so many people are suffering and you're a bigger platform than me. That would satisfy me as well. Just make a video about mental health. Didn't want to do any of that. Wanted to turn the internet against me. So they turned the internet against me and I got all this trolling. So I've been through it. I don't care. It's only kids trying to be mean. And kids can't be mean to me. I know who I am. I know who I am. I know the goodness in my heart. And the people around me and the people that I do good things for and with, they're the ones that give me that confidence in myself. It was built into me when I was a fencer. I went to the World Championships at fencing, and my coach turned me into it don't happen by accident in this life. My dad wasn't always around all the time. He taught me some important lessons about honour and integrity, but he wasn't always around all the time. But my fencing coach was, and they developed me into this man that I am today. And it's about honour, integrity, discipline, honesty. So I know who I am. So nobody on the internet with a little word, you can say I've got a big nose. Oh, my big nose. I don't fucking care. Like, you can say anything. You can go and find my old hairdressing website and you can say that my haircuts were crap. Oh no. What is it you can say? Nothing. Sticks and stones may break my bones. Names can never hurt me. But they do hurt other people. I perceive that. Some people are vulnerable to it. But for some reason, I'm not. I think it's because of these other things in my life that I can turn to. I don't have to worry about what people on the internet think or some chuffer at the bus stop. Or, I've got people that I've invested my lifetime with that know who I am. So I don't... And it just don't work. It just don't worry. So trolling can be an art. But there's like... For me, it's just funny, I guess. It's just funny. It's like going to a comedy show. That's what it's like. I'm here, I'm the comedian on stage, and if someone wants to heckle me from the audience and we do a bit of a joke together, that's all it is. That's all it is for me. I don't care. So, but I do think it's sad for other people because I have heard people being really upset by it. So I think the practice is bad. I think doing it's bad, but doing it to me doesn't, it's just like water off a duck's back, frankly. And I say bring it on because it's funny. It makes the show more enjoyable, doesn't it? And we've learned something together now, haven't we? We've learned something together about what's worth your time in life. About what's worth your time. Obviously not this shit, but we're doing it.
You can see evidence of tunnels under the tower itself. There is an article online called Network of Secret Illuminati Tunnels in Blackpool Exposed.
Oh, that'll be right then. There's an article online called Network of Secret Illuminati Tunnels in Blackpool Exposed. That will be the pure seam of gold, won't it? That'll be the real thing. It's an article online. Oh, my days. Do you know what I mean? For a while there, all that conspiracy theory thing took off, didn't it? And it was confusing people big time, but... Do you know what I mean? Network of Secret Illuminati Tunnels in Blackpool Exposed. Why do you need secret tunnels in Blackpool? For what? And then why would you put a fucking tower up to show everyone that it's here? It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't put a big waving flag, would you? You wouldn't put a big waving flag. Oh, you like my nose? Don't worry, don't worry. I broke it in a car accident, so it's more big than it was when I was a kid. You know, you take the rough with the smooth in life, don't you? I suppose also, and I'll say this as well, I've had some successes in life so far. I'm not hugely successful. You know, I didn't win the World Championships. I came 41st. I didn't get my degree. I studied for 2 years and then binned it off. I didn't make it to become a top drum and bass DJ, but I played at the biggest club in Bristol, so I've enjoyed myself. I don't look back and think, oh no, what a shit life I've had. I look back and if I died tomorrow, fair fucks. I mean, I didn't get everywhere and everything I wanted to do. Nobody does. You don't get to eat all the chocolates in the box. Do you know what I mean? If you do, it makes you sick. So I've had a good life. I've got more to come, hopefully. I'm looking forward to having kids. I'm looking forward to you know, doing that joyful raising of kids and seeing some more of the world. But other than that, I ain't got much more on my bucket list. You know, make myself financially viable, have some kids, go around the world a bit, devote my life to them. That's all I'm into now. And if I don't have my own kids, I can devote my life to the kids of the internet, to everyone else's kids. I look on my friends have got kids and I look on them as fondness. I'm like their uncle. You know, great. I'm happy with my lot in life. So maybe that's another reason that these things can't hurt me on the internet, because they're just bullshit on the internet. But this is the life, you know?
Which talks of the Blackpool Tower being on an intersectional point of an inverted pentagram.
Now it's on the inverted pentagram. Fucking hell. Except that looks like the pentagram extends into the sea. And it wouldn't be inverted because there's no up or down, is there? We're just looking at it from a bird's eye view. But I've got to see that. I wonder if I'll get that on Ecosia. Blackpool pentagram. Let's put that, see if we can get that. Are there secret tunnels in Blackpool? Lancashire News. Ooh. Ooh, sells the news, does it? Sells the news. Ooh. So it's not secret, though, because they... Rumours of pentagram walkways. Rumours, clandestine passages. Is it true? More options, obviously. Reject all. Thank you very much. That's how I feel in my life. Reject all. I'm just reject all, aren't I? I've just been rejected. They said this about me on the internet. I can't carry on. Oh, another really important point, I should say this about online bullying, because it's important that people should really understand it. If you do take it to heart and it makes you feel bad, this is important. I can only be hurt by people I respect. Now, you've seen some of the longer term chatters in our chat today. You've seen some of them. I've got to be careful not to do the devil horns, otherwise people think I'm the devil. You've seen some of our longer term devil chatters in chat today. And if Angie turned around and said, you're being a dick today, I'd think, oh, hang on, wait. This is someone that I respect telling me something that I should listen to. You know, if my sister comes around and says, you know what, I think you got some funny ideas there, I'd say, hang on, this is someone that I love and respect telling me something that I need to listen to. You know what I mean? If I go down the shops and someone bumps into me in the supermarket and says, you're a rude chuffer, I think this is a stranger who I don't know. I don't even know if I should respect them. I don't have to worry about that. I can only be hurt by people that I respect, by opinions that I hold value in. And if I seem to hold value in randomers on the internet and it hurts me, it's more problem with me there. I have to learn about what I value, because I don't really value the braying of the crowd, do I? I don't really value. You know, in general, the most people don't always get things right. The majority are not always the smartest people. Only the top 10% can be the smartest people. The rest of us are in the majority, aren't we? Actually, I've said earlier I was in the top 2%, so maybe but not anymore. I'm not. When I did my exams in my school, I was in the higher echelons of academic rigour. But since then, I've smoked loads of weed, gone to the pub. I don't do any academic study from day to day now, do I? So if I took an IQ test now, I think I'd have dropped. I think I'd have dropped into a more reasonable range. But, you know, it's important to realise this, that if you're taking the opinions of strangers on the internet as some sort of important info, including on these videos, You need to question the narrative, question your own narrative, question why you think so highly of things that are written by strangers that won't even, you know, some of these comments on YouTube, you can't follow up and see who it is. I think on Twitter, you should have your own face and your own name, and maybe not your real phone number and all that, but Twitter should have that information. So if you turn out to be a Nazi arsehole, they can say, right, it's you that said that. You're going to get the police come round and talk to you. Do you know what I mean? I think we should be accountable for our views. And if you're choosing to hide on the internet and bully someone, you're not even accountable. So you're the coward. So why should I be worried about a coward who's not accountable? It's silly to me. That's another thing that I think is important. Are there secret underground tunnels in Blackpool? That's the Nintendo Switch. This is the web browser. We're not on the Nintendo today, so I've got to remember that. Facebook's full of community groups dedicated to weird and wonderful history. And the history of Blackpool, they've grown tired of posts becoming hijacked by this subject.
You write born to kill on your helmet and you wear a peace button. Was that supposed to be some kind of sick joke?
I think I was trying to suggest something about the duality of man, sir.
Thank you very much for your tippies. Thank you very much for your tippies. That's the sound of the Tokyo marching band screaming. Won't make sense to everyone. Oh, look. This was confirmed to be a Photoshop for April Fools, but it still fools a lot of people. A 2018 image of a photo showed a young elephant making its way through the network of tunnels. It was a Photoshop. So this is sprung up. It's sprung up from a photoshopped April Fools. It's largely social media that's fueled these rumours, says 62-year-old David Hume from Blackpool, who worked on the structure for 30 years. So, you know, this is proper journalism where they've showed you who they're talking to, why they're an authentic voice on it, and what they think. It's largely social media that's fueled these rumours. People honestly believe there are tunnels in the shape of a pentagram underneath Blackpool, and it's the Illuminati. It's ridiculous because years ago, Blackpool Tower and the Winter Gardens were rival companies, so why would there be a tunnel connecting them? It's also ridiculous for other reasons, but there are some underground areas in the Grand Theatre and Winter Gardens, and there is a passageway that leads out into the road from the tower. I hate to disappoint people, but it's largely uneventful and it's just used to store things like beer. So there we go, we've solved that. That's bullshit. Categoric bullshit.
Which line up with the entrances to the secret tunnel network.
And also, why is this secret stuff now a pentagram? Why is it Satanists? Do Satanists have the... I thought it was the millennial... Right, this is well fucked. Do you remember the Tartaria thing? Do you remember the old Tartaria thing, right? Tartaria is the idea that Jesus came back from the dead and did a millennial reign of Jesus. And then the devil took over. And then there was a mud flood. And now we're here. There's this fake news, fake history inserted. Well... It doesn't make sense that the people who owned the power in that millennial reign of Jesus, the saints that built these buildings that they suggest, you know, the people that were there before that we inherited from, why were they into Satanism? Because they weren't Satanists. Why would they do it in a pentagram when they weren't Satanists? They were the opposite. Well, you fucked that up.
Point of an inverted pentagram, which line up with the entrances to the secret tunnel network below Blackpool. Is this possibly...
There aren't no secret tunnel. It's not secret if you know about it. Right, that's an oxymoron. Because if you know about it and you know it's there, it's not secret. If it's secret, you don't even know it's there. So what are you saying? There are things that are there that you don't know that are there. Don't think that makes sense.
A discovery that might have got these men killed.
And it got them killed. Might have. Remember, might have. Everything's all might have.
Another theory that popped up whilst researching was...
Another theory that popped up whilst researching, and there's the right word, popped. The Zeppelin Tower.
The idea that the tower could actually have been used as a docking point for an airship.
It possibly could have done. That's actually not bullshit. Zeppelins were developed around the same sort of time. Obviously, we don't still use them now because having a massive balloon full of hydrogen... Was it hydrogen? Gas bags. There's the Hindenburg. Basically, it went on fire, the fucker did, didn't it? Hydrogen, yeah, it's hydrogen, right, hydrogen. Having a massive... You see what I mean about me being not... I'm not saying I'm intelligent, super smart, but I think I'm more worldly wise than someone like Jade. I think if you said to Jade, what's it filled with, she wouldn't know. But I know it's hydrogen, because I just got this background knowledge from a general life of education that some people definitely don't. And I'm not criticising on that front. If you don't want to go to school, if you hate school, you're not academic, you're more good at carpentry or whatever, fine. I'm not good at woodwork. I think you're brilliant. I look at you with awe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I went to the World's Strongest Man competition with Eddie Hall, and there were no maths tests. No one was grading them on their mathematical ability. And I didn't therefore say, I'm better than you, Eddie Hall, because I can do better at maths. I didn't say that. I was like, well done on your strength achievement. So I can see the good in others and the beauty in others, accept that I have that talent in a way. And therefore, when something like the Hindenburg, the Zeppelins, I've got background knowledge I can refer to. I've remembered stuff. I take in information and remember it in ways. I'm not a genius. I'm not Tesla or like Brian Cox or someone. But, you know, I can give you a bit of background on that. Obviously, she's probably got the same background from Wikipedia if she knew that it was a Zeppelin. But we don't still use these because they go on fire. And they fuck up. So we don't still use them. But during the war, they were quite useful. And we used them as anti-aircraft. Anti-aircraft devices. We used them to protect our cities during the war. So we did use them. They were about. But other than that, they didn't serve much purpose. We binned them off. There was one in Indiana Jones in the film, wasn't there? There was one in Indiana Jones. We basically just binned them off because they weren't that good. So it would be weird, wouldn't it? It'd be fucking weird if the Zeppelin was in somehow connected to Antiquitech, because the Antiquitech was supposed to be really good stuff, electric based and all that. Well, this wouldn't work with that. The combination of electricity and a giant balloon full of hydrogen is not a good one. It worked for a bit and they binned it off. We got better stuff than that. Look, there's the Hindenburg. There's the Hindenburg. Fucking horrible disaster. So, yeah, you could convert existing structures or consider building towers with dual purposes in mind. And they did, and this will blow your fucking mind as well. They did used to dock on towers. A Zeppelin docking on a tower, look. Now, I don't know if you would be prepared to step off the tower onto that small wooden gangway with no security measure. Look, there's a gap between it and the tower, isn't there? You just got to take your life in your hands and walk off the tower onto the Zeppelin. There you go. In you go. Yeah. But it doesn't make as much sense because more modern Zeppelin designs as well, the actual bit that you're in, I have to get another window for this, Zeppelin passenger, what would you call it? A carriage, passenger compartment, passenger. I'll just put that, Zeppelin passenger. Like you see here on this image, and it is Google, so it could be just completely lies. But the Zeppelin internal structure, there was some internal structure, but the passenger bit is this bit underneath that hangs down underneath. So it wouldn't have been useful to have it attached to a tower for boarding passengers. It would have only been useful for things like internal workings. You would probably want to do that if you're going to build a custom job for that. You'd probably want to do it near nothing at all. Out near nothing at all, because we're not docking onto a tower to get the people in for your journey. It's not like a train station. The tower dock is used to protect areas so that the thing is like there, held there to protect cities, and for maintenance. And they usually do it out away from cities. If it's not for protection during the war, they dock it away from cities on airfields so it doesn't blow everyone up when it crashes. So that's even a modern Zeppelin there. That's a modern one, look. Probably more safe than they used to be now. Probably more safe. But only as a novelty. Only as a novelty. Not really. No, not really what you think. Not really what you think. So that's the Zeppelin. That's the Zeppelin. Okay, Jade? You okay with that, Jade? That's the Zeppelin. So could that Blackpool Tower have been used as a docking point for an airship? Well, yes. It potentially could have been, but no, it wasn't. Because during the war, they put aerials and shit on it and used it for transmission of radio signals for the RAF. They didn't want an airship on it because it wasn't a particularly important industrial site they needed to protect. So they didn't need airships for that. And docking it would have been dangerous for the surrounding areas. Docking it would have been dangerous for the people getting on it. And it would have only been used for maintenance. So, no. We'll say no. That's... Of course, now you've got random music from background and some pictures of Zeppelins that she's found on Google. So it proves nothing except what I said, that they used to be around and that we don't use them anymore, and that they're not Antiquitech, because if they were, they'd be much better at doing their job. But because they were shit and blew up, we had to get rid of them. And we only used them really, in a big way, for protection during the war and for transatlantic crossings before we had proper jets.
If we look at examples of airship...
There's an example of it being docked at a much lower to the ground. You don't want a great big tower, because you don't have to... You can bring the airship down from the air to the lower level tower and dock it there in the countryside where you're not going to blow things up.
Docking. This doesn't seem out of the realms of possibilities.
So it does seem out of the realms of possibility to use Blackpool Tower for that purpose, because it's A, too tall, B, too populated. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the narrative to use it. Question the narrative, realise Jade is talking shit, because she's not that smart. She didn't look at this and think, oh, immediately, no, it can't be used for that, because, of course, I remember what I learned in school about airships, that they needed to be docked here and for this purpose, and they were used for that. No, she doesn't know any of that. She doesn't know any of that. Now, again, I'm going to come back to this. I want to make this clear. I'm not criticising you if you didn't like school. I'm not criticising you if you were dyslexic, if you left school without GCSEs, whatever. But you have to understand that the people that did that, the people that don't have this worldly wise, general knowledge, that aren't interested in this way, don't have this background or the material to fill in the gaps. So Jade is not an expert, and ne'er shall she be. She has revealed herself to be ignorant when it comes to critical thinking. So not the sort of person, even if you want to believe in Antiquitech, Jade cannot be your guide, because she's revealing herself to be ignorant about basic stuff that most of us may have picked up over the years. You see how the airship is low? This is the Navy. The Navy famously had an airship, I think it was in Texas, that blew upright in the air and nearly blew over. So they were glad that it wasn't in an urbanised area. You see how the tower is not very tall, because it only needs to be high enough to attach the thing to. You bring the airship down and you attach it to the tower. You would never build a great big tower like Blackpool Tower or the Eiffel Tower and use it for docking. That's not my airship station. Let's get people up there and get them in. Look at where they go in. They go in there underneath at the front. It has to come right down to get the people in. Don't be stupid. There's the people going in from exactly the same place. So well done on your research, Jade. Well done on your research. You've gone on YouTube, Wikipedia, and it's directed you to this page, which I found on Google. Yeah? I love it when we do the same research, because I'm not doing research. I'm just bringing up the first thing on the internet that proves my point. But they're obviously not that smart, because now I've found what they've done. Jade has done exactly this, and it shows you that British MPs are walking on into an airship gangplank in England. It explains to you, that airship mooring masts were built, a tower, it's got a fitting on top that allows for the bow of the airship to attach to the mooring. It shows you this. It says the tallest mooring mast ever designed was the Empire State Building, but they binned it off and used it as a radio transmitter because they discovered the infeasibility of mooring an airship for any length of time to a very tall mast in the middle of an urban area. So this article says, no, Jade, you're talking shit. Here's the photographic evidence of you talking shit. This is why they don't do it. That's why they don't do it. Okay, if you want to find out more about airships, go and educate yourself on airships. There's the Hindenburg. This one moored here in a non-urban area, lower to the ground on a purpose-built tower that's not like the Blackpool Tower. That's one there. So you can see it does get moored like that, but not the way she says. Not the way she says. If the people dock at something tall, the airship doesn't have to waste time descending. That's true. That's why you get on your aeroplanes while they're in the sky. Isn't it? That's why in airports you always go up the tower to get on the aeroplane. Don't be stupid. Sorry, Lindsay, I'm not trying to call you stupid, but that's silly, isn't it? That's silly. It's much easier for the airship to just descend a few feet than to build a tower and have people go on a funny gangplank. And bear in mind, they don't go in that part of the airship. You only go in that part of the airship there if you're going to be doing some maintenance. The bit that you actually go in to travel in is the bit on the undercarriage. So the passengers can't enter the airship through this tower. The passengers cannot enter the airship through this tower. So it doesn't make sense. There's no reason to do this for passengers. And it's obvious that it's not Antiquitech. Otherwise, when we discovered it and started making them, we'd have gone, all our airports would be full of these. They're not, because they're not the best way of travelling in the air. They're dangerous. They're inefficient. They're slow. So that's not Antiquitech. It's not what used to go on. Even if you're suggesting Antiquitech was real and they had spacecraft and all that, that's not them. That's not that. That's not what it is. They don't dock in the way that are being suggested, and the reasons they don't do that have been threefold, multiple different reasons. When they discovered the infeasibility of it, they decided just to turn the masts into radio transmitters. Not like Blackpool Tower, which they did that in the 1940s because of the war. So, false comparison, different tech. Well, it's similar though, isn't it? It's boarding an aircraft. And you said the reason they dock it is because it doesn't have to waste time descending. It's the same principle. That's why I'm using a similar thing. Waste time descending. I mean, what about ships? Why do you bring them into port? That's a waste of time. Why don't we get on the ships out at sea? Save them wasting time coming into port. Why don't we get ferried out to the ships at sea? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No, it just, honestly, they descend and you board them. It's not a waste of time. It would take a lot more time to climb up the tower. For a human being to walk up or take an elevator up a tower and individually dock a number of humans would take more time than if you just bring the airship down on the ground and they just get on. Honestly, that's why they get them down on the ground, to get on them. Anyway, each their own. I've said that now. I'm not going to go on about it again, because if you don't agree, you don't agree. What more do you want me to do? I'm not an airship authority.
How easy would it be to travel from New York City, possibly docking at the Empire State Building?
Oh my God, she realises that she's just read an article that said you can't dock at the Empire State Building. This was an idea they had. It didn't take off.
Travelling to the Blackpool Tower.
Well, you wouldn't travel to the Blackpool Tower, would you? I mean, you could. I suppose you could. But I just want to show you again on maps Blackpool's location. It is on the right coast, but there's Ireland in the way. See that? There's Ireland in the way. So if you travel from America over to the UK on one of those airships from over New York, she said, didn't she? So you're up here, New York, and you go across. You wouldn't hit Blackpool. You'd be further south, wouldn't you? Your line would go in about Wales, Bristol, Wales. You wouldn't then travel north up the coast of the UK to Blackpool. That would sound strange. You could travel across Ireland, but it would just be out of your way to go longer across the island of Ireland. Maybe you'd dock in Ireland. It just wouldn't make sense. You'd probably go from New York to southern UK, Bristol, maybe even across to London, where it's popular. Not Blackpool, though, because Blackpool's not an international centre of anything. So that doesn't make sense. More of these same photographs, just move past quick. We're not allowed to use photographs for evidence of flat Earth, but we are allowed to use these, and they're not evidence of anything, they're just the same photographs. There's one being docked at sea. This is probably wartime. In fact, you can see they're all in the Navy there. They're all in their uniforms, their white uniforms. So it's a different context here.
And when we look at images of airships from the past, it does look like a very...
That was a picture of an airship from the past that was drawn... That's an artist's impression drawn in pencil in a news magazine article. What are you saying?
Like a very possible use.
Using this image again because you've run out of footage now? Because you're not a very good media producer.
Of the tower. And here is a bonus segment that will be leading us on to our next...
Why are you? And this shows her level of brain, yeah? This shows her level of thinking. She might have been doing this. This might have been the other person on the camera. You're in a seaside resort, right? There's going to be fucking loads of seagulls. There's going to be fucking loads of them. Bear that in mind, yeah? Bear that in mind. Fucking loads of them. You're there to get footage for your Blackpool Tower investigation, But your brain has said, why don't we film this seagull? Not once. Might not be the same seagull. Okay. But not once, but twice. We're going to film it for an extended period of time. And on top of that, when we look at the footage back in the edit, because if you handed this to me, I'm the producer, and I've said, go and get me the GVs, the general views of Blackpool. I need them for the edit. And you've come back with this picture of a seagull. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I mean, one picture of a seagull for a general view, you know, okay, maybe we're at the sea, it says seagull, seaside, yeah. But multiple followings of a seagull with shaky cam bollocks. Oh my God, what's going on in your brain while you're trying to do your job? Why can't you're not doing what you're supposed to. And I'll tell you why, because in your brain it's going, oh, there's a seagull. Oh, look at that. What is? That's the person that you're going to trust on the internet for your advice, for your interesting history knowledge. I saw a seagull.
Next video topic. A few days ago, I came across this in a book. It's a hydropathic hotel built on the north coast of Blackpool.
Oh my God. It doesn't look like a photograph to me. Cleveley's Hydro. Okay, I'm going to have to find out what that is now, because she just throws these things up. Cleveley's Hydro Blackpool. It's a golf club. Oh, it's a town of its own. So it's a town and seaside resort. So it's not Blackpool. It's its own place that's slightly different. It's not Blackpool though, is it? It's just up the road from Blackpool. What did she call it? Was hydropathic. Imperial Hotel here was originally called the Imperial Hydropathic. Hydropathy. Hang on. Hydro, water. Pathy, isn't that some sort of like water medicine? Hang on. What's hydropathic? Hydropathy, a therapeutic system, water medicine, you see, that professes to cure all diseases with Oh my fucking days. So, in Victorian times, before they knew all about the proper science like we do, before they had access to all the education like we do, some funny ideas used to come up, didn't they? I mean, it'd been going on since Bath Spa. You can go to Lourdes and Jesus water will fix you. Here, it can cure all diseases, either by bathing in it or drinking it. Although water therapy is currently used to treat certain ailments, its effectiveness is generally accepted to be limited. I mean, maybe you can do some physiotherapy in water. Maybe there are some, aspects to being in a bath of water that might help. But back then, this Victorian concept idea, a bit like the old snake oil, isn't it? It's a bit like the old snake oil. You've got all these funny ideas in Victorian English. Some of them were right and some of them carried on. And, maybe steaming your face is good. Maybe there are some benefits to a hot bath. But before we actually knew exactly what all they were, and we had the proper sciences and everything, while we're just on the cusp of it, just getting into it, at the time of tonics and, a water-based retreat in Victorian times, the water cure, look. The water cure. Hydropathy. Now, far be it from me to say this. It's on you. You can decide what you both want as your treatment. But I worry, if you had cancer, would you want a hot bath treatment these days? Is the internet my only reference? Me? I'm just going through her video and just, looking into it. And luckily for us, the internet is a good reference point, right? I'm not the person saying Google is rubbish. I think Google is pretty good. It doesn't always get me the answer I want, but all the information that humans have ever discovered has been put up in a collective place that we can access it. And that's how we can use our critical thinking, validated with evidence, to learn. So you might not believe in Google. And if not, you're adrift. because all you've got is old books. And some of them aren't that accurate, and you're not even looking at them because you're not in a library. All any of us really doing is using Google. And if you don't think it's acceptable for me to use Google, you have to accept that Jade is doing exactly the same. She may have one book here. She may have one book. But come on, she's using Google all the time. She's using the internet all the time. You can't trust Google. You can't just. I've got DuckDuckGo. I've used a different one as well, haven't I? I've used Ecosia today, so like apparently I'm not allowed to use that. It's just silly though. It's just silly to not. Do we know science heavy water? I don't know about heavy water and killing viruses. If that were the case, then obviously in hospitals we'd be fucking things up by not using water. If you want to drink water instead of taking medicines, then fine. But it's bullshit. It's why we don't use it as a system. Google is no one's got like Google isn't the authority on everything, but this is what's critical here as well. Google's a search engine, so Google doesn't present me with any information at all. Google just brings together the most popular sources of information and serves them up to me. And then there's thousands of pages of it. Look, I can go to page 10 here, more of it, more 14, more of it. Google is just a search system because there's so much information. And then if I want to go and look into it, this is Barnes and Noble. This is their own webpage, Barnes and Noble. So then I have to assess whether Barnes and Noble are a verifiable webpage with, that there's no bad actors. And that's good because Google, they eradicate some of the bad actors for me because I'm not able to, I'm not able to police every website. So this book that I can find now through this website, this is now not Google. Now we're on Barnes and Noble. They've got their own website that's produced by, I don't know, what you call it when you make your own website. There's companies that make websites for you. They're not Google. This book is not Google. It's taken me to the book. So why is Google? Google's supposed to be hiding this shit, but it's taken me straight to it because there is no clandestine hiding of information. I found the old book here through Google. I can buy it if I want. There is no clandestine hiding of information. It's silly. Google's just a search engine and all the information's there. DuckDuckGo is just a different search engine and it searches through the same fucking stuff. It's just that it doesn't censor, or you might say, another way of saying it would be, it doesn't curate its information in the same way as Google. So I don't know. Like you can say what you want about these things. Yes, Google's got society. Well, it's not. It's society. You've got that confused as well. It's like supply and demand. Google is responding to society. Society is on Google typing the things in, and that's causing a response in Google. Google's not pushing this information on me, is it? I found this myself by going through the Google search system, but look at all of it. The reason it pushes certain things is through homogenization, through certain ideas being more popular. That's what YouTube does as well. So it homogenizes things, but that's not a deliberate... I'll give you another story about this. There was a bloke and he wanted to teach his little girl to use the toilet. So he said, go and use the potty, and if you do, I'll give you some M&Ms. So she went and used the potty, she got her M&Ms. The next day, she said, Daddy, look at me, I'm going to use the potty. Well done, you've learned it, have your M&Ms. And then 10 minutes later, she says, Daddy, let me use the potty. You've learned it, let you have your M&Ms. 10 minutes later, I've used the potty, hang on, what's going on here? It wasn't as straightforward as supply and demand as, like, I give you an incentive, you do it. What happened was there was some other mechanism that went on. She learned to hold it in and just do it a little bit, and then she got her M&Ms. She's now getting an M&Ms. So Google was set up as a search engine so it would give us the most popular information. That doesn't mean the most popular is always the most correct. It doesn't mean that the search engine that was set up, oh, brilliant, it works perfectly. It means it's not exactly perfect. Just like that system of teaching that girl to use the potty, other things might come up. Yes, absolutely. Homogenization of ideas, yes. That's why we look into the way these things work and we evolve them and we change them. Yes, absolutely. But I don't think that Mr. and Mrs. Google, the great powers that be, sat down and said, right, we've got to start changing people's information some clever way. How would they have known to do this about hydrotherapy or hydrophatic, whatever it is, this narrow niche specific thing? How would they know to... Like, somebody's got to have their brain on that. That's not how it works. Artificial intelligence is doing it, and it makes some sweeping gestures, some big mistakes maybe. It misses some stuff out that doesn't fit on the thing. You don't find, if you subscribe to me on YouTube, you don't even get the recommendations sometimes because Google's not perfect. There you go. Google's an artificial intelligence that's just not quite perfect. But it's not that some clandestine power that be is there twisting it for the, like, if you think that, you might be a bit confused. Maybe. You know, there's so much different stuff to come up here, but and again, okay, like copper might kill viruses, but I can't inject myself with copper because it will kill me. So there's a lot of confusion that goes on. There's a lot of confusion that goes on. And also, bear in mind, we're rating Jade's work here. We're rating Jade's work. And Jade has consistently used Google and Wikipedia in her work. So I don't think she's that good either by those standards.
On the shorefront. Hydropathic therapy did become popular during the 1800s, and is it possible that the tower was actually emitting EMF to the nearby water sources, creating the structured healing waters?
What? Is it possible? Again, she won't say it's possible. It is the case because she knows that, number one, she don't want to get stuck with that idea. She doesn't want that as a badge. She's not going to stand up for it and say, I believe this. She doesn't even believe it. She wants to say, is it possible, so she can stay on YouTube, so she can stay on Google. She's in with Google. Why are Google not banning this? Google shuts it down in a module. Why are they letting this through? Why is Jade on Google? This is Google. I'm going to search for Jade Tartaria. There she is, top one. I'm second, thank God. There she is, top one. Oh, no, she's not. That's talking about Jade items. Of course, Jade items. But my video about her is top one. That's brilliant. Oh, look, I'm even higher up than her. Brilliant. This is good. This is good. She doesn't go by Jade, though, does she? She goes by Truth. No, Face of Tomorrow or Future. Past. It's an awful name she's chosen. A really generic, awful, terrible name. What's it called? Past of the Future or something. Future of the Past. Stupid. Future of the... I'll show you why that's so stupid, because this won't even bring her up either, because they're just generic words that everyone types in their things. So she can't even get found on Google. She's chosen a really bad name. I wonder if I come up. Ganji Kid. Oh, I'm at the top, because no one else has got my name. Who's smarter? Listen, who's more intelligent? Jade or me? Just on that. Who's running their thing better? Jade or me? Just on that. Who's growing and who's going downhill? I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but can't even fucking find out about Jade on Google. Maybe they're hiding her. Maybe they're hiding her. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Maybe no one gives a shit. It's not like that, man. It's not like that. Yeah. Anyway, Jade. She thinks that electromagnetic frequencies are being transmitted to the water and that the water has cured people. Now, that's probably why her dad died. I'm being terrible. But if you don't believe in proper medicine, you're going to die because you're going to have electromagnetic water instead of medicine. Her dad died because of COVID because she didn't believe in that either. And she probably transmitted it. She probably killed her own dad, which is an awful thing, isn't it? An awful thing. If not other people's families. There you go. Look, there's some people in a bath. It's a photograph, but she's blown it up so large that it's now pixelated in her wonderful media product. And it's some people in a bath. So that proves it, doesn't it? Oh, Victorian spas. Well, they had them in Roman times as well, bath spa. They're not Victorian necessarily, but they became popular again in Victorian times when they believed that there was some sort of healing property involved with sitting in the water. And there are some photos of people sitting in water, presumably in Victorian times. But again, it's only a photograph off Google, so this could be faked. I mean, it really could be. I could produce that in pixel art these days and it'd look just the same. I don't know what it's evidence of or supposed to be for. It just seems silly, doesn't it? Also, if this were Antiquitech that's been rediscovered, why aren't we using it now? Why doesn't it work? Why isn't it curing us? And Antiquitech rediscovered, they say, So presumably these people sitting in the water are... Presumably they're not using it right, because these are those 1800 people who aren't dressed properly for swimming, remember, because you think they didn't know how to dress for swimming. Not that they didn't have the same materials to make swimming costumes out of, and you didn't have the same culture, you know, but they're in their swimming wears there, and they don't know how to use it properly, so it can't be doing anything for them. Or are these photographs of people from the Antiquitech past that we don't have any record of because it's being hidden from us? How are these photos arriving on this YouTube channel, which is a part of the Google network, when Google hides it? I mean, what are we saying? What's that? That's an etching. It's not a drawing, it's an etching. Someone's carved out of wood, leaving the lines. They've used the lines to print on a piece of paper. It's an etching, and it's an etching of someone having their leg washed in a sort of faux religious, you know, holy water way. These people have all got crutches and things, so I'm to assume that they're washing these legs in some sort of magic water. That's Antiquitech, that is, isn't it? Back in the day, we had magic water that could fix things. We just don't know how to use it now. Probably we're just not that clever these days. Probably a lot smarter back then. It's just rubbish.
Guys, we've just noticed that the obelisk lines up perfectly.
Oh my god, you're so fucking dumb. Everything, like 2 points, create a straight line. Everything lines up perfectly. You can't have just the obelisk. You have to have more on the line, because everything lines up perfectly. Your house right now lines up perfectly with Blackpool, because you draw a line between the two and it's a straight line. 2 points make a straight line. It's the first lesson in geometry. But she doesn't realise how stupid she sounds when she says this.
With the Blackpool Tower.
Like, if you go and stand somewhere else, it doesn't line up perfectly. It's off. You know, if you take 2 steps to the right now, it's off, isn't it? That's just perspective. That's just where you're stood. You're becoming the 3rd point along this straight line axis, and that's why it looks straight. But if you go and stand on the beachfront, it doesn't look straight line. It's not in the way. What a fucking stupid thing to do.
Now, I've heard that this obelisk is
You have to stand right here for this to be the case.
actually on a point of a pentagram for the city, so that's a bit concerning. All the Antiquitech in this area, it's just
What Antiquitech? Are we looking at the rails or the sea or the pier? What are you on about?
in your face.
It's in your
It's all been
face.
removed, of course, but there's evidence of it.
It's in your face. It's been removed, but there's evidence of it, because they don't want you to know about it, but they're going to leave it there right in your face and remove it at the same time. What the fuck is going on in that girl's brain?
In there. These are all the original Victorian. Or whatever
That's
they
original, so it's not been removed, so it's not been changed. It's original, she says.
want to call it. Stalls. It's just the same old in all the cities, really, but this is pretty.
It's not the same old in all the cities. This is particularly unique to Blackpool. All the cities do not have towers. All the cities do not have ballrooms on the beachfront. They don't even all have seasides.
Pretty unique, I think.
It's the same in all the cities. She now says it's unique. You can't, even if you want to believe in Tartaria, even if you want to believe in mud floods, if you want to believe, you believe, you know, Jesus Christ, like, some people believe in Jesus Christ, some people believe in the X-Files. If you want to believe that, that's up to you. But don't you ever let me hear that Jade is the leader of your thoughts. Don't you ever let me hear that Jade is the one with all the smarts, because she's just contradicted herself twice in 2 sentences. She doesn't make sense. So you can have your ideas, but these can't be them, because these ideas are full of fallacies. They're full of holes.
I want to call it.
These
are all the original.
It's in your face.
It's been removed, of course,
It's been removed.
but there's evidence of it
There's evidence of it, even though it's been removed.
being there. These are all the original
They're the original fixtures and fittings. They've not been removed.
Victorian,
They're exactly as they were in Victorian times.
whatever they want to call it. Stalls. It's just the same old in all the cities, really, but this is
It's the same in all the cities.
pretty unique.
But this is unique. It's just contradiction, 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 contradiction.
I think it's beautiful. Look at it. And then you got the beautiful ocean right there, and the sun is...
And what she's doing here is terrible camera work. Again, going back to the media, just to finish on the media bit, is you want to take a shot of what you want to take a shot of and hold it so you can edit it in. You don't want to be like moving it and swinging it. You've got what we call shutter... Oh, I've forgotten the word for it now. How come I've forgotten the word for it? Oh, I can't remember every word from every technical aspect. But what's happening is, as you move the camera fast, the image is like wobbling on its side like that because you're moving the camera too fast for your shutter speed, and like you're not getting good images of anything. So instead of one solid image of something good, you're getting shit images of everything.
Really, but this is pretty...
The zooming in and out as well is just really like, you've either got a smooth zoom and you've got a what we call a follow focus where you can zoom without touching the camera, or you don't zoom. You shoot what you want zoomed in, you shoot it zoomed out, and you cut the zoom bit, because that zooming in and wobbling around is like making you seasick.
Unique, I think.
So Jade can't even handle a camera.
It's beautiful. Look at it. And then you got the beautiful ocean right there, and the sun is setting. So that's our video today on Blackpool. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next.
The sun can't set because remember the earth is flat and it goes round and round and round, so it wouldn't look like that if it was setting, would it? It wouldn't go down over there. It would appear to stay the same height in the sky but just be going off to one side. Remember?
Next time, guys. Bye.
Bye. Don't know why the music built up to a crescendo then. Fucking hell! What's that music for? That was an awful choice. It doesn't suit the setting sun. Do you know what I mean? If that's your choice, Jade, to do that at the end of your video. Time lapse of sun setting, or maybe just fast forwarded video. Which goes counter to the ideas of other... Maybe she isn't a flat earther. Maybe she believes in the globe. Oh, it's a video. Look, she zoomed out. She didn't do a time lapse like a professional media producer would do. She just sat there recording it and then fast forwarded it. And then you get all this artifact noise on the sea because the camera's so bad it can't record the detail. That music and that setting at the end, that was awful. That made that you want your final, thing on your media product, if you're sitting down in the editing room and making it at home, to be a positive feeling when they leave, don't you? You don't want people to think that was shit. And the final thing you should have done is not just say, all right, bye, here's the sun, to waste a bit of time at the end. Why do we need to waste time in a video that we make ourselves? So the beautiful sunset, 7:55, 8:30, that last minute can go. Don't need that. In fact, you should be promoting your other videos in that space and raising ideas that might intrigue people for your next thing. But you've just used it because you know that you can put this on at the end. Click to subscribe, click for next video. So you need a space at the end to fit that. So you've just used rubbish because you're so naive. So not very good music. Not a very good piece of media. Not a very good media producer. Not somebody who understands how to use a camera. Not somebody who understands how to edit properly. Not somebody who understands context in media. There's that aspect. So, we're looking into her brain now. We're looking into the way her mind works. And we've seen that it's littered with inconsistencies. We've seen that there's things that we can easily prove that are stupid that are up there. There's film of seagulls. There's also the fact that she used Wikipedia like I used Wikipedia. She found the same pages on Google that I found. She's presenting this on a Google platform on YouTube. So there's lots of red flags, even if you want to go down that road, even if you think she's great. If you think that the area of work that she's doing is great, I've proved that she's doing a shit job. There you go. I've proved she's doing a shit job. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, if you're watching this video, right, go through the comments that are being left on our chat. We've got live chat comments. Have a look at those. Right? Make sure you look at those. And tell me, because I haven't got time all the time to analyse every chat comment. But tell me in the comments, get on your comment chain, have your big thing. Give me all the information. If there's something there, I'll look into it and make a video like this with one of the comments as a jumping off point. With the, guide me to the websites, the information, I'll do it. Fine. But it is difficult for me to see things flying past in comments and say, oh, but maybe that, and maybe this, and maybe that. I don't want to dartboard this. It's not darts at a dartboard. That's how they do this, right? They throw a million darts at the dartboard while you're thinking, so you can't think. I want to do one thing, get it clear, make sure we know it's either real or not, move on to the next. So with this Blackpool thing, even the Blackpool thing threw up all these different ideas, didn't it? Zeppelins and underfloor fucking tunnels. And do you know what I mean? We can't have one thing. We can't have the Blackpool Tower. Is it or is it not ancient technology for electricity production? We can't just have that one thing, because in her video that takes like 8 minutes, we've gone on to fucking 6 things. Hydro fucking therapy, and like that's why that's ridiculous. You can't talk to people on that level. If people are talking to you like that, fucking back away. It's not a case that we should throw as many juggling balls in the air at once as we can. A debate should not be, yeah, but have you heard this? Yeah, but have you heard that? Yeah, but have you heard this? Yeah, but have you heard that? What about this? Well, I think this and that. And but the copper does this and this. Like, calm down. One thing at a time. Let's go through it like rigorously, so that we can ascertain whether there's any truth, there's any red flags. Let's go through that rigorously. Let's get to the bottom of it. And if we can't completely, like Tesla's a good example of something that's very hard to get completely to the bottom of. Maybe some of us aren't smart enough. I'm not smart enough to do what Tesla was doing. And if I have to, I'm not smart enough to fucking... I can code. Here's a good example. I can code on the, code computer games, but I can do really basic stuff. And when it comes to the more complicated stuff, I start thinking to myself, God, I wish I'd done this when I was 15, when my brain was pliable and plastic and when I was like sharp. Now I'm starting to get a bit lost, and it takes me longer to learn these things than the young'uns, because I'm some 60-year-old boomer with my cap on backwards to try and look young. So I find it... I find it more difficult to learn more complex things as I get older. That's natural, that's human. So what I tend to do then is I tend to look at people who are experts and rely on them. What I don't think I can do is suddenly start, if I'm having trouble with coding, suddenly start learning to build a computer and also start learning to... what's required to mine the minerals to make the chips, and what's required. It goes on and on and on. And that's what they do to you on these things. They throw up the juggling balls. Are we talking about Blackpool? Oh, it's hydrotherapy. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. No. Let's just get one thing clear. Now that we have, with Jade, she suggested Blackpool Tower was hidden tech. We found out it couldn't possibly be. Because even if it was Tesla's hidden tech, even if it was something like that, you'd do it in a different way, wouldn't you? You'd do it in a different way. You wouldn't necessarily want to do it in the seaside resort populated by working class people. Like Blackpool was only popular amongst the working classes to go to seaside for their holidays. It's not like London or like Liverpool or Manchester or the big cities in Glasgow, is it? It's not like one of these big cities where industry's going on. It was a popular seaside resort, picked up around the 1800s when we had the Industrial Revolution and people had a bit of free time and a bit of money, and the concept of holidays were born. So it doesn't make sense for it to be antique tech, because even if it was, they wouldn't put it there, would they? Because there was nothing there. Like, there's so many reasons why it doesn't tie up to be hidden tech. So I'm glad that we've tied, like, I've obviously said it throughout the entirety of this broadcast, and I've pointed out why she is a right chuffer, because she won't even say it. She won't say it's hidden tech. She'll hide behind ifs and maybes and buts and keep her content okay for Google. And Google's looked at her content. She's had her channel out for over a year now. Her channel's been going for more than a year, hasn't it? So Google has vetted all this content. Google has listened to it, watched it. The artificial intelligence has been through it, all of this, and said, yeah, no problem, fine with that. Go ahead. So how can you tell me that Google is censoring the truth and won't let you at it? And Google's let this through the net for a whole year. Martin Leedtke's on Google. You can find out all his stuff off YouTube and Google. They're all on. YouTube is Google. We're all on it. So it's not deliberately hiding it, because I'm looking at it on its platform. She's very careful to not say certain things that can nail her to this, because she's going to want to move away from this one day. She's saying, oh, I'm just looking at ideas. I didn't say they were my ideas. I said, maybe it could be. What do you think? Because she's a snide. Not proud. Not able to stand up and say what she believes. Not confident in this. To you. Twisting it. Being a bit twisty. That's my feelings on that. And I'll say thank you very much for that. I don't know what we're going to come back and do tomorrow at 2 p.m. Tonight's 8 p.m. GMT is Mental Health Monday on Twitch. I'm going to have to come up with something for that. And I have to think about I feel more pressure now. I'll tell you this. Now that we've had slightly more people watching and slightly more people involved in the viewing of the channel, I feel more pressure to do more things and not just to turn on and play a game and have a chat. I feel more pressure. So it might be that if I haven't prepared enough good stuff, it might be I don't switch on the camera. I'd rather do a good stream and miss a stream, and then do a good stream and miss a stream, than do a shit stream more regularly. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know about what's happening tomorrow, but if I'm on at 2 o'clock, it's because I've thought of something to do. If I take the time off, it's because I'm thinking of something to do and doing some proper research. You might notice for our Mental Health Monday videos, I actually do, and I haven't had the time this week to do this, but for Mental Health Monday, I actually do proper research, don't I? Like proper research as well. Let me just go home, scroll down. This is for tonight, Mental Health Monday. That's the channel. We'll be on Twitch doing the live broadcast and uploading it to this channel in full, and then also uploading the edit to Mental Health Monday. But we've done things like sleep, mindful eating, self-harm, expressing yourself, and in that we did deep proper research. We got, okay, Google might have been involved, but we got some really interesting stuff to talk about and look at, didn't we? So I know what it takes. And yeah, I'm trying to produce content with value, so I don't want to just turn on and talk shit all the time, but I can be here just doing more relaxed stuff sometimes. That's okay. It doesn't have to always be Grammy winning, does it? But that's us for today. Blackpool's fake. Jade said what she said. Now, if you've got time on your hands and you want to look into it, don't look into her videos. Don't give her the credit. Look into mine. Have a look down scroll right down. Have a look down here and see if anything flight of fancy picture, makes you think, oh, that's interesting. Got some games on there. They might be interesting. Talk about raving. Look, relationship counselling for the single man. That was a funny one. A Fisherman's Tale is a really interesting VR game. I played the whole thing in an hour. So there's all sorts of things there that you might think are interesting. So check it out. You be good, my little puckos. You are being good. And if you can't be good, don't argue with each other in the comments. Don't worry about it. Don't get eggy in the comments. Never get over the top in the comments. But leave a comment and discuss it. Don't take these things to heart. Don't take these things personal. If you start feeling hot or wound up or, oh my God, what about this? Go for a walk. Go for a dog walk. Do all this stuff calm and chill. And if it's not making you feel good, do something that makes you feel good instead. That's the main thing.